gas masks, and hand grenades.
All right. Welcome to Gas Masks and Hand Grenades. I am your host, Jeff. What is happening, everybody? Sorry, we're getting started a few minutes late here. We are doing the Camel Part 1 deep dive tonight. I am joined by my buddies, Mr. Lewis. You got to unmute yourself there. Eric, same for you. There we go. Got my buddies, Mr. Luis Torregrossa. He's becoming a fixture around here. He's like herpes. I don't know how to get rid of him. I'm just kidding. And this guy down below me here, Mr. Erik Berg from Psychic Vacuum. You know him. You love him. We do all the proggy stuff together. And yeah, dudes, we're gonna dip into Camel, which I think Eric. Uh-oh, what happened there? Did you hear that?
Yep, but it seems to be gone.
Got a crazy rebound there for a moment. Okay. I did shift my little table, and sometimes when you do that, it acts a little wacky with the Wi-Fi. Yeah, so Eric, I think you and I talked about doing Camel for like the last 2 years, right? I think something like that. We've been.
I know we mentioned it briefly at some point a while ago, but don't know exactly when.
So it's been kind of one of those bands that's on the to-do list. And the interesting thing about Camel, and we'll get into that here, with where we came into the band and how we came into the band. And, obviously Lewis and I are old timers. One of us is really old. One of us is pretty old. I'll let you guess which one, Eric. Be careful, okay? But yeah, we've been around since this band was around. Now I was a young kid when they first started. Louis was a little bit older than me, obviously. But we both kind of came into this band. I did not really come into this band, though, until quite a ways down the road. I think the first time I heard of Camel would have probably been around 2001, 2, somewhere in that range. Because, I always throw this guy's fucking name out there, and it gets kind of sickening. I feel like I'm such an ass suck guy, Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, okay, when's he going to mention Steven Wilson? Well, here I am. I'm going to mention Steven Wilson. Steven and I became friends in like 99, and we would just send a lot of emails back and forth. Hey, man, did you check this out? Did you check that out? And I'll never forget, he suggested I check out Opeth because he knew I liked metal, but he didn't, that was the early days for death metal for me. Even though I knew about Deicide and Death and those bands, I wasn't into those vocals at all. Now, I love them. But, and I'll never forget, he kind of said, yeah, there's this band Opeth from Sweden, and they're kind of like a mixture of Camel and Jethro Tull, and he named a whole bunch of other bands and then metal bands. He's like, I'm like, who's Camel? Like, I never heard of Camel. Wait, somebody has a band named Camel? What a dumb name is that, right? What kind of a dumb name is that? But then I went out early days of the internet, checked out Camel, and I kind of fell in love with them. That said, until I believe it was November of 23, so it's been about 2 years. Yeah, it was 2 years this set came out, right, Louis?
About that.
Yeah. So this set comes out. Both Louis and I have a copy of it here, and I'll blow myself up real fast. Kind of give you a feel for it. This is and unfortunately I dropped mine and put a nice big gash in it, which sucks, but this is called Airborne. And this is the complete discography and then a lot more of Camel. So all the studio albums are on here. And in addition to that, there's a ton of live material, archival live material, some of which has come out, some of which was never released before. Bonus tracks that weren't released before, single edits, all kind of stuff like that. And then there's 4 Blu-ray discs. So there's, am I correct, Louis? 32,
it's
right?
5 Blu-ray discs, but it's 32 discs total.
Yeah, it's 32 discs. Yeah, I think it's 28 CD. And anyway, long story short, and you know what I have just realized, damn it? I never watched the freaking I have not watched any of the Blu-ray material on this yet. Isn't that sad? I've gotten halfway through the set, through the years. A lot of the live material, just check it out. But and Louis and I were just talking about this. This set's going for crazy money on Discogs. Although Erik said he thought he saw on the Camel website, you can still get this for a reasonable penny. On Discogs, what was the last price you saw? Like the lowest price you saw? Louis? Remember?
I'm looking
don't-
on Discogs right
I
now.
don't, I don't remember. I was shocked by
Seems to me it was
somebody.
like $600, but I could
Well,
be
no,
wrong.
there is somebody in Detroit who's selling it for 500.
Okay, well there you go. That's probably the lowest one
Yeah.
because some people that have an unopened set, and I don't know how they got it because you were only supposed to buy one, but somebody had their aunt buy one or whatever.
Yeah.
I know those people are selling them for. Am I wrong in this, Erik? Are they breaking the 4 decibel or the $1,000 mark? I swore I saw one in there.
There's one for there's a couple for €1,000. The most expensive, I don't know what the exchange rate is right now, but there's one for 1152.69 American on
There you
there,
go, almost $1,200.
unopened.
Wow. So there you go. So mine wouldn't be worth that because it's got that gash in it, unfortunately. But I mean, it's not like I'm looking to flip it anyways. And I mean, I do feel a little self-conscious when I sat down and looked at this thing the other night and realized, Christ, dude, you haven't even gotten a third of the way through this thing yet. Like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? So it's just because I can't listen to the same thing over and over and over. But and I have so much shit that it's crazy. So, but yeah, I came into them via Wilson and Opeth because Michael is a huge fanatic of Camel via that route. So, Louis, how about you? Where did you come into the
I
band?
probably came into them around 1978 when I was still living in Puerto Rico. There was a guy in Puerto Rico by the name of Fernando Arteaga, who's no longer with us, who had a very cool record store where he used to sell prog stuff and give whiskey and coconut water to the loyal customers.
Nice. Even the children, right?
No, not the children.
Okay, all
That
right.
I know of.
That you know of,
And I showed up there one day, and actually he was playing this on the store system. Let me get it out of the cellophane. Their first
Live.
live record,
Right.
and I fell in love immediately. I went, "What the hell is that?" And I'm taking one home, and I've been a fan ever since.
But interestingly, you said you got the box set, so you do or you don't have any of the vinyls from Days of Old, or did you get rid of them?
I had them mostly on CD from Days of Old, and I basically traded in all the CDs became superfluous when I got the box set, and I traded them in.
Okay, that makes sense. Then, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was a while there where the reason I didn't own any of the CDs was every time I would look for them, they were fucking imported. Even still,
Yeah.
In like 20 years ago, they were all imports. And
most of the material is now available on Esoteric,
Spotify.
which is a branch of the Cherry Red family, and they got relatively good U.S. distribution.
Oh yeah, Esoteric. But they did. But what I'm talking about when I first learned about them,
Oh yeah,
25 years ago, you couldn't get the albums over here.
No,
Easily.
absolutely not.
You just couldn't. And then I believe they did the remasters in 2009, I think.
There was yeah.
Yeah, and then they became a little bit more easier to get. And strangely enough, I just never actually, I don't know why, man. I just never grabbed them. And then when I learned about this box set, in a weird way, I swear to God, you're not going to believe this, but in a weird, strange way, I think I was kind of waiting for this. Like, they're going to have to do a Camel box set of some sort. Now, I didn't expect it to be 32 fucking discs, but I was kind of thinking, oh, they'll do like a book set where, you know what I mean? I was kind of waiting like for them to do like archival stuff and put it all together in either each individual album on its own, which they did. Sorry, I have a little bit of a tooth thing. I just put some horror gel in there. That's why I'm talking funny. So I was kind of hoping that would happen. And then what ended up happening was they went one way better. They did everything
Yeah.
in one box, and I'm like, there is no fucking way. I'll never forget. Remember Devin? Eric, remember Devin?
Yep.
Devin's like, dude, did you see this? He might have been the one that alerted me to it. No, I probably got something from Burningside. And he's like, are you going to get that? I'm like, goddamn right. I said, if I have to go out and whore myself out, I'm doing it, man. I'm gonna, whatever I got to do to get the money together to go buy that, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So
one little thing. It's not actually all the studio albums. It's up to 1984.
It's all the stuff they did for MCA and Decca.
Yeah.
Oh, right. MCA, right.
It doesn't cover all the stuff that Camel put out after they went independent.
Andy did. Right. Yeah, which actually I've never even heard those albums. So I'll probably need to look into them. I guess you get them from his website, I would assume, right?
Or we can figure something out.
Or Amazon or something, yeah. But anyway, Eric, how about you? Because you're a pretty young cat at 30. This is not a band that you would have, accidentally fallen into. This had to be one of your sojourns into weird prog, right?
Yeah, I mean, they were a band I got into fairly early, getting into prog. I was into stuff like Rush, I guess, was probably the first prog band I ever got into,
Right
and
on.
Pink Floyd back in high school. And then like around probably 2013, I got into Porcupine Tree.
There you go.
And that kind of led me to Opeth, so similar trajectory to you. And then, of course, you like read any kind of interviews or anything with Michael from Opeth, and he always talks about Camel. They're his favorite band, I think.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I better check this band out, because Opeth quickly became one of my favorite bands, along with Porcupine Tree and stuff like that. And I actually got into Opeth with their more prog rock kind of albums as well, because I didn't like the vocals and stuff on the old material at first. But anyway, so I kind of got into more 70s prog, and Camel was one of the first bands that I kind of discovered, even I think maybe even before I got into Yes. I was starting to get into Jethro Tull and King Crimson and stuff like that, but they would have been right around that same time too. So probably 2013, 2014. I remember listening to Mirage a couple times, and then it would have been probably 2016. I was going to school in a city away from home, and I remember putting on the Mirage album, and it just, like, for whatever reason, it hadn't really grabbed me before, but that time it just blew my mind, and I was like, man, this is so great. And then, so ever since then, I've been a fan. I will admit, I hadn't heard anything past Breathless until a couple months ago when we were talking about doing this. So the rest is new to me, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, quite frankly, man, like I hadn't heard anything past Breathless either. And even though I've even owned this stuff, it was kind of like, and we'll get into that because we're going to talk about these, I think when everyone talks about Camel, most people talk about Camel. Most Camel fans, the old line prog fans, are like, the first 4 albums, man, it's all you need, that kind of thing. But I found I really enjoyed those next 4 albums, one of which I really was kind of mind blown with, actually, that I had not heard. And I mean, it's been the one I keep thinking about in my head, like, I want to play that again. We'll get there shortly. But I think they're one of those bands that, if, in my opinion, they really should be talked about in the same breath as Crimson or Yes or Genesis or any of those, those major the biggies, right? Floyd, that kind of thing. I don't, and why that it never quite happened for them. There's a lot of speculation we can go into. I have my thoughts. The one thing is that they always seem to be in the wrong place to right time, like sort of thing. You know what I mean? That seemed to always come up to me. I didn't read that book. Maybe they go into that more, Lewis, in the book. I don't know. Did you read
They don't, but you can gather some things from the book. They were on a small label in the U.S. in their heyday, something called Janus that probably didn't push them. They only toured the U.S. in like 74, 75,
Right.
and 79.
So they couldn't really open that big market up, which
They for
hurt.
some reason never cracked the U.S. market and did not become as big in the U.S. as they were, for example, in Europe or the UK.
But they were also their label. Was it Decca early on or Durham or
Decca
in UK,
in the UK, in
MCA in Europe?
no, MCA only had the first album, and MCA dropped them after the first album.
No shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then they must have. Did they buy the rights to those albums then later to reissue them or something or what?
Uh I don't know exactly what happened there. I know that there was a lot of litigation between Andy Latimer and their former manager between like 84 and 91. One of
Okay.
those things that seems to be kind of similar to the Fripp and King Crimson get the material, get the rights, or get all that stuff back type of situations that dragged on forever.
Yeah, and I mean, they also lacked kind of a whereas Yes had a singular front man. Floyd had more or less. They had two front men, but they were kind of both dynamic personalities. Genesis more or less one front man early on, and then Collins kind of took over there.
Mhm.
But Camel always was this unique animal, and that like they had three singers early on, and then none of them were real dominant vocally. They weren't kind
No.
of like a focal point, and
Mhm.
also their music wasn't vocally dominant. They were a lot. They were a lot of mostly 60% instrumentals back in the day, or 70% instrumentals, and so I think there was some uniqueness there. But it is weird that a band like Crimson, who never really had big hits until Adrian Belew came in the band. And I don't even know if they were like Discipline was a big album, but I mean, early on, I guess In the Court was kind of its unique thing unto itself. But following that, they didn't really have Starless and Bible Black. Wetton was a big name. Okay, that I'll give you that. But like, why did it work for some of these bands and yet it just didn't work for Camel to the extent that it did that they never became the big prog dinosaurs that the behemoths, that these
Yeah,
other bands.
they never cracked the big five.
Right.
Yeah,
And they should have. They really should have,
yeah.
in my opinion. So okay, well we'll get started here real quick. I guess Eric, did you say you do have, and we're gonna just switch off for each album. Otherwise that way if I just go in the same routine, everybody steals everybody's thunder. This way we can kind of mix or match. So Eric, I guess I'll let you go first with Camel since you said that's the one that didn't hit you at first, and then it kind of hits you a little bit later here, and you can show your copy then.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I came in with Mirage. So,
Oh, before we get started, real quick though, I always like to do the studio stuff. So this was released in February of 1973. It was recorded between 2 weeks in August of 1972 at Morgan
Mhm.
Studios. MCA was the label, and the producer was Dave Williams. Camel's the debut album by the English progressive rock group Camel, obviously. They had signed to MCA Records in August of 72, quickly entered the studio to record the debut album, and it was a collection of individual songs, chiefly from Andy Latimer, guitars, Pete Barton's keyboards. The album was greeted with muted success, and MCA did not take an option for a second album. By then, the group had acquired the management team of Jeff Jukes and Max Hull of Gemini Artists, later to become Gamma Records, and had moved to Decca. So they moved to Decca there, and where they would remain the next 10 years. So there we go. All right, go ahead.
um, yeah, there's the guys there. Um, yeah, so I mean, I didn't really jump in on the discussion about them not being as successful there, but part of it too. I mean, even to this day, they're not quite as talked about as some of the other bands, and maybe part of it as well um with that is they didn't come in quite as early. I mean, this is
True,
1973, right? So by that
true.
time, a lot of those big prog bands already
Had
had,
already broke.
one, two, three albums out.
Mhm.
Correct.
Um, and I also kind of, I don't think, I mean, I don't care about this kind of stuff really necessarily, but I don't think they were ever really an experimental band. I don't think they really were intentionally trying to push the genre of prog rock forward necessarily,
Good
like a
point.
band like King Crimson or somebody was. They kind of
Or
just
even yes, I mean, doing like a whole sidelong album of mixed suites and things like mixed uh so an 18-minute song per se for like close to
yeah,
the edge.
or a lot of the like, more experimental kind of dissonant, jagged stuff that some of those bands were doing, the really complex kind of stuff. They were more just kind of they had their own flavor of prog, and they're just really, really good at it. Um, so
That's
yeah,
a good point.
this album too, they already have their own sound completely on this album from any of the other prog bands that were around, really. It's really like I was saying, I mean, it's in comparison to a lot of prog bands, this is really laid back kind of and jazzy, kind of like very smooth.
It's very loungy.
Number.
There's a lot of lounginess to it, right?
It's kind of easy. It's easy listening almost in a way. It's
At
very
times.
easy to listen to. Not that it's elevator music or anything remotely like that. It does have a lot of complexity, but it's kind of hidden within these really well crafted songs. I find their transitions are very smooth as well. They don't really have an abrupt kind of cut, and they'll jump into something completely unexpected, like
Right.
some other bands will. I would say this is a really good like gateway album for somebody wanting to get into prog rock from a world of like more just kind of classic rock kind of stuff.
Yeah, because and
Um,
I will say, and I'll make this point in a minute, but you say classic rock. It's good you bring that point up because there's a very, particularly on this album in specific, there's a lot of classic rock vibes. And I'm going to name two bands, if Louis doesn't beat me to them, that I think I can hear literally right off the bat. The minute I start listening to them, I'm like, oh, there's the that moment, and there's the that moment. I'll see what you say, Louis, but we'll let Erik.
I'll let you go first.
Okay, all right, okay.
Okay.
We're gonna. I'm not 90%. We're gonna agree on this, so
Yeah.
we'll see. But go ahead, Erik.
And a very interesting thing about this album, as I was doing the search on Discogs, the first album was not released in the US in the 70s.
Really?
The first US release that shows up on Discog is Andy Latimer's reissue in 1992.
No fucking
okay,
shit.
that's this version that I
That's, yeah,
have then.
that's
Yeah.
Camel
Add to it
Productions
some of
version.
that.
Yeah.
How about that? I had no clue. Well, then that even lends even more credence to what you said, Erik, because there was nobody over here pushing to get him over here. Not really.
Yeah.
Right.
And that
So you
wasn't.
wouldn't have found any Camel stuff until the mid 70s, right?
Yeah.
Over
Or
here.
later 70s, probably even. Yeah. And I mean, like, what'd you say, Louis, that they toured here 3 times?
2 times.
Two
Like
times.
74, 75, and like 78, 79.
Which, I mean, Crimson and Yes and Genesis, they were living over here.
Yeah.
And they were building these massive like audiences, and they quickly went from small theaters and clubs to big theaters, and then fucking huge. When I saw, of course, it was Invisible Touch, so they were probably at their apex. But when I saw Genesis, they played fucking Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. That's 80,000. I don't know how many people were there. It wasn't that many, but I bet you there was 50 or 60,000 people at that show. But yeah, so yeah, that's interesting. And I'm trying to think, like, I know once Andy moved over here, I imagine they tour a lot though?
Not too terribly much. It was in California. They did play a lot of gigs in
West
California,
Coast runs,
West Coast runs. I don't think they hit the East Coast much,
near
except
Fest.
except around the time they played Near Fest that they did. I think they played Alexandria, Virginia, and a couple of
Jersey,
they played
New
the
York,
Bottom
I
Line
think.
in New York. Yeah, they did like
Which
three
is
or four.
crazy because, man, I remember that, and I wanted to go to that show. I can't remember why I didn't go, man. That's the one I really regret that I
Yeah,
didn't go to, because you went, right?
I was there. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, yeah.
that's
So,
the one time I saw them live.
okay. So, do you want to break it? You know, I always do a song breakdown. Do you want me to do that, Eric, or do you want to, and we all chime in on it, or
Yeah,
how do you
yeah.
want to do it?
Uh,
Let's do it that way. Unless you want to
do it
pull
which way?
out. Well, I'll start running down through my song breakdowns. You guys can
Okay,
just add in. We'll just
we'll
kind of
jump in.
follow
Yeah.
it. That's kind of how we
One
did
one
Santana. Go ahead.
another real quick thing. I just want to say I really like from the get-go, these guys are amazing players, but they do it
100%.
also, that's part of the this kind of smoothness I was talking about. They're very virtuosic in the way that kind of the definition of the word is, playing complex stuff and making it sound easy, right? I mean,
Yeah.
all this stuff sounds completely effortless. It doesn't sound like they're
Yeah.
breaking a sweat at all.
It's to
Um,
me, it kind of sounds virtuosic in a jazz fusiony type of way.
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
there are definitely some fusion overtones in a lot of their
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
oh, for sure. And I think, you know, it's interesting, and we'll talk about this more in depthly on some of these albums. This one, not in particular. There is enough singing on this that it's not like, 20% vocals and 80% instrumentals. But some of their stuff coming up, it's that the other way around. There's 20% vocals and 80% instrumentals, and one particular album in particular has no vocals on it at all. The third one, except for ethereal female vocals and a little bit of humming and stuff. Very unusual. Not most of the prog that we listen to. Yes, Genesis, it's all vocal driven. Crimson might be the exception to the rule there, but even their most popular stuff was vocal driven, most of it, right?
yeah,
And it's interesting too, like the point you brought up. I mean, yeah, like you said, you have three vocalists on this, and none of them are. I mean, they're all good singers. They're all in key
But
and
none of them
everything.
are like
None of them are
phenomenal, like
yeah.
mind
distinctive,
blowers. Yeah,
right? And I kind of wonder if they had one of those frontmen, like a Peter Gabriel or John Anderson or
John
somebody,
Anderson,
maybe they
exactly.
would have been more vocal oriented as
That's
well.
my
Hard to say.
perspective. That was my take. And in the end, I was going to wrap with something very similar to that. Like, what if that would have happened? But the only band I think, because even Floyd had two very dynamic singers. And Rick Wright sang too. But I mean, there was Waters was 70%, but the really big hits were pretty much all the Gilmore, because he had the sweeter, croonier, more pretty voice. Rick's actually had a great voice too. But then you get to a band like Crimson, where they had Greg Lake for 2 albums, and he was a pretty phenomenal thing. But he also was going his own direction with ELP. Who this band's a little bit more like ELP in a lot of ways, where ELP was much more music driven than they were vocal driven a lot of the time, right? But in Crimson, you had really, until Adrian Blue, you really didn't have any great singers. You had
I really
Wetton.
like John Wetton
Other
personally,
Wetton.
but I mean,
Yeah,
Wetton was it. I mean, he was
Yeah.
really him, and he only stuck around for what, 2 albums, right? Was it 2 or 3?
three.
3. Okay. So yeah, but I think Crimson always had kind of a weird. They were always kind of the oddball that were like, well, kind of everybody thought they started prog. I'm not sure if that's really true. That's a whole discussion for another day. But they were kind of one of the apex predators. So they had a different sort of following that kind of stuck with them. Whereas I think that with Camel, it wasn't quite that way. But let's jump into this real quick. So it starts out with Slow Yourself Down, which right away I'm going to throw out the first band. Well, I know they're both in here. Okay, so right away, 2 bands I hear automatically, and they do predate Camel. Both these bands, I made sure. Number 1, Lewis and I just did a deep dive on them. Santana, early Santana, man. There's a lot of early Santana in the jamminess of some of these songs. Because I don't want to call this a jam band album because it's not that way. Because it is fairly structured, but there's a lot of jamminess in what they're doing.
Yeah.
A lot of back and forth trade off between the organ and the organ was the big thing. It was the big. Oh, there's the Greg Rowley. That even sounds like Greg Rowley playing right there with Pete Bardens.
Okay.
So definitely here's some early Santana in there, mostly like the first 2 or 3 albums. And then, man, I don't know how you can miss it, but there's one band that the guitars are almost kind of carbon copies at times of. Anybody want to take a guess?
Allman Brothers?
Exactly.
A little bit?
No.
Exactly, Allman Brothers. In fact, Diary of Elizabeth Reed is all over this album and the second album. You can hear the jazzy things, that kind of.
There are some similarities more with Dickie Betts in Andy Latimer's playing than with Allman.
Right. Andy's a very refined player, but at the heart of Andy's playing is blues, and you can hear it often, especially if you're a guitar player. You hear the scales he's using. He added a lot of other elements to his playing, but you definitely hear Dickie Betts in it. Not so much Dwayne, because Dwayne was more of a slide player,
Yeah. The other band that I hear a lot because of the organ guitar interplay is Deep Purple.
Yes, I have a note on that here in a track too. I'm going to mention that too. I didn't think it as much because yes, you had the Hammond a lot, and Pete does use the Hammond a lot on these first couple albums for sure. I don't think he plays it in quite the way that John Lord played it. Like John Lord played it like he fucking hated it, like he wanted to kill that organ, right? And he wanted to kill you with that organ. Pete's a lot more delicate and a little bit more, prog nerdy in the way he plays, right? But anyways, you get into that slow yourself down. So again, I talk about the Barden organ and synths and the guitar playing. It's very reminiscent of the Allmans. Latimer's sort of droll and sleepy, he has like a sleepy vocal style a lot, where it's just not real in your face. It's not super pretty and it's not super tuneful, but it's easy listening. It's pretty easy on the ears, like Erik said. And you get to that. That song, once it starts picking up and they start doing the jamming in the middle of it, like the middle third of it, and they're just cooking hard. And they do that ascending synth and guitar ending thing. And you're just like, whoa, that's fucking wicked right there, man. And don't forget, Greg Allman was known to play some Hammond organ, Hammond B3 quite a bit too. So you could kind of hear that in there. Mystic Queen, it's a very obvious. It's about groupies, obviously. The backstage queen of the limousine or whatever, that kind of stuff. But it's kind of really cool because it's got the acoustic. It's underpinned by initially the first half is pretty much all of an acoustic sort of thing with some clean electric over top. And the bass playing is really good, man. Doug Ferguson is a great bass player. Like I don't think he gets quite the notoriety because he left after, what was it, the fourth album or third album? Fourth album, right? Fourth album. But he's kind of an understated weapon here. And I would honestly say he probably has the best voice of all three of the guys that sang in the band for me. But again, they do that, it's and I say this, Erik, which is interesting. I say this isn't a super complex prog song, even though it sounds prog. So that kind of lends exactly to what you were saying, where this isn't, crazy time signature weirdness from, Fractured on, of King Crimson or something nutty like that.
No, there's no 17/8 nor anything like that.
Right. It's a lot more streamlined. It's a lot more straight ahead in a lot of ways.
And that
the only difference
maybe that's partly, what you were saying about, I mean, any of these guys, they're not household names as like you know, even if a lot of people who are a guitar player, I mean, Andy Latimer is not a household name even among
No, he's not a
guitarists, really.
Gilmore.
Yeah.
He's not a Fripp.
So
He's not a Steve
exactly.
Howe. You know.
And I think that comes back to these guys aren't flashy players. You know,
Right.
there's complexity hidden within their really well composed.
But they're all great players. But you're right. They're
Yeah.
not flashy. That's a great point. Then you get into that part there at the ending where it's a descending riff instead of going da 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 da. They're descending down the scale, and they do that. They start doing that really cool. The volume swells, the volume swell stuff is super cool. Like, and that's Andy's a real finesse player. He's not a flashy player. He's a finesse player. He does all the little things that make you go, "Oh, that was really nice. Wonder what he did there." You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I believe Doug Ferguson was the singer on Mystic Queen. I'm pretty sure, from what I can tell. Any thoughts on those two tracks, real quick? Then we'll move on.
No, we're right.
Doing pretty good. All right, 6/8, the first instrumental of. I think there's two on this album, right? If I'm not wrong. Yeah. Yeah, Rubella, right? And 6/8 is big time Allman Brothers on that one, man. That first 3 minutes is like super fucking Allman Brothers. I'm trying to remember, is this the one where I usually put this in my notes, but I don't know if I did. A lot of jazz elements on this, a lot of cool rock and roll jamming. That warm bubbling synth on this one from Barden is really, really cool. Not sure what it kind of sounds like it's coming out from underwater. You know the part I'm talking about? It's got that like that thing. It's like comes in really weird.
The keyboard intro I thought was really nice too.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to remember if this is the one where he does he's doing the is it this one? Or was that on Mystic Queen? I'm trying to remember which one. You know what I'm talking about when he's humming the melody of the guitar lines. He goes yeah, right.
Can't
That's
remember which
unique.
one that's in.
Yeah, I can't remember which. I thought I noted it and I didn't. So, but that's another, really killer song. 6/8. I imagine it's in 6/8 time. I don't know I'm not good at counting because I'm not a drummer. So, Separation, cool little Latimer's song. Kind of, this is another one that reminds me a lot of early Santana, like the first two Santana albums. A lot of organ on it. And then we get to arguably one of the greatest fucking songs ever written.
I thought Separation had a potential to be a single.
It should have.
If MCA cared, yeah.
They would have given a shit, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So, and he actually, Andy's voice on that doesn't sound as sleepy. It sounds a little more mellow and kind of beatific. Yeah. You know, it's got a beatific. So then we get to side two, and the lead off track on side two is honestly one of the coolest motherfucking songs ever written, in my opinion. I love this song. I love everything about this song. The way that it opens with that beautiful little finger picked. Well, it's flat picked, but I think he's hybrid picking it, and he's just doing that beautiful little. It's such a cool, like sequence of notes that are picked, and it's not super complex, but it sounds so fucking cool, right? And then it kind of kicks in, and you've got those really, those kind of cool keyboard parts that kind of come in from Barden that they just work so well. I mean, dude, like when it gets to that the crescendo vocal part where he's doing never let go, never let go, never let go, and it's like you're just like those keyboards in the background, those synths are the coolest synths ever. I don't know what he's using. I don't know if it's a Moog or I don't know what early synth he's using there, but you know what I'm talking about. They have this almost haunting autumnal ethereal like vibe, and then The guitar's building over it. There's crazy good solos in this thing. Maybe this is this the one where doodly 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 doo,
Yeah,
doodly 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 doo, you know,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So that's it. Yeah. Man, there's something so sad and yet so happy about that song. It like makes me feel so many emotions when I hear that song. And when my first Camel, and I forgot I do actually have some Camel and CD. I just remembered it. I have Echoes, which is the double CD
The double
greatest.
CD comp that
Yeah,
came out in the like 95.
which is weird because it's in an unusual size case. It's not in a
Yeah.
it's in a double CD case, but it's like a long one. In the booklet, when you pull it out, it's not the size of a jewel case. It's like
Yeah.
longer, so the case is longer. It's really weird. I don't remember who that came out on. Do you remember? Was it Decca
I
or
think that was
MCA?
Polydor. That was a
Polydor.
series that Polydor used to
You're,
put out.
you're
They
right. It
put
is
out a
Polydor.
bunch of those. I used to own that at one point in time.
I still have that somewhere. I don't know where it's at.
That got jettisoned when I bought all the original albums. So,
there you go. There you go.
I
yeah,
love,
go ahead. Talk about this song. Talk about this song.
I love Never Let Go. If I get to choose the music for my funeral,
that's one of the songs.
Yeah, that's one of the songs. That's
yeah. It's so, I don't know, man. And I believe Pete sings that song. Am I wrong, or is that Andy? Maybe it is Andy.
I think it's Pete. I have issues sorting out who sings what, and on my notes I have Barden's question mark.
Yeah, I think it's Pete. I think it's Barden. Is it Pete?
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I thought.
According to Wikipedia, anyway.
And he sounds well. Yeah, that's why I was asking, because I wasn't 100% sure on that. But man, his voice sounds just. There's just this otherness of it. There's an otherness sound of the way he sings that song. And it's the lyrics are so fucking cool. Like, and I will say that unfortunately, lyrically, sometimes Camel hasn't been the greatest when it comes to lyrics. They're not like super deep things, but most of them. But this one has a really, really killer, like the imagery behind it is dreamlike. It's very dreamlike, and the song is very dreamlike, right?
And the lyrics perfectly fit the feeling of the song too. I mean, it's kind of it to me, it always just felt kind of like melancholic but hopeful at the same kind of time.
Exactly. And I for some reason, every time I hear that song, I think of it's autumnal. It has like an autumn feel to it. Like that's a song you want to be driving late at night down some dark highway somewhere in fucking late October, man. Maybe you can have the window open a little bit, but you're just feeling the ether, the night. It's also a night song. It's got a night vibe, which a lot of their stuff has that vibe. So Curiosity, it's probably the most beguiling ballad. Really gorgeous.
Yeah.
Doug has a lovely voice on this, and I would say he had the prettiest voice of the three. Great song, very, very again, just very evocative. I don't know what it is about Camel's first four albums, but they are so evocative to me. They make me think of feels for some reason. I just, you know what I mean? Like I kind of feel in touch with my emotions when I listen to this band for some strange reason. Whereas I don't feel that way when I'm listening to Ulcerate or something, you know, other than, you know, visceralness or whatever. And then we get to Aruba Luba, the other big, long, overtly prog. This is the overt prog song on the album. You got the guitars and organs throughout. They're kind of trading, and there's that signature riff that comes in. What's that say? Don't know what I was trying to say there. There's a very signature, that first 3 minutes, very signature Allman Brother riff in there, and that's the one that makes me think a lot of Diary of Elizabeth Reed. That kind of like do 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 do. It's not like that, but it's got shades of those things. And that was around
riff. It's almost like that actually in there.
It is. I know it is. Like it's almost like they had to have heard it. They almost had to have heard it.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, because Allman Brothers East came out in 1971, I think. So, and that would have been on the first album. So, Yeah, and what's weird about this album for me is that I started immersing myself in the last week or so in this. I kind of thought this was one of my least favorite of their albums of the first four. I don't know what I was thinking. This album fucking rules. it's so good, man. I give this an easy 9.5 out of 10. The recording is, of the era. It's not bad in any way, shape, or form. Production sounds good. It sounds like a 70s album, like it should. It's warm. It sounds analog. It sounds kind of live in a lot of ways, even though who knows how live it was. Probably pretty live because they recorded it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Not a lot of dubbing going on there. You probably, back in the day, you had to have these songs practiced so well that, if you fucked up one little part, you could punch in or splice tape, but you couldn't, you know what I mean? You weren't punching in solos and punching in vocals, and I mean, you had to
you were splicing tape in the 70s,
but you had to know what you were doing. You had
Yeah.
to be good at playing the songs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a 9.5 out of 10 for me. And Never Let Go is a Stone Cold Prog classic.
Classic, yeah.
All classics, man. It might be one of my 5 favorite songs ever. I just love that song so much. It's just so cool. So, any thoughts, gentlemen?
Of all the albums in the box set, this is probably the one that improves the most with the modern remastering, remixing.
Agreed. A lot more clarity, a lot more
clarity, a lot more clarity, a lot more punchy when compared with the previous versions.
Yeah,
Eric,
there's a new remix from 2023. They went through and remixed a lot of these albums as well, which those all sound amazing. And actually, this CD that I have from '92, it actually sounds fantastic as well.
Yeah.
It's remastered, I think. Yeah, remastered by Andy Latimer himself.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. I used to own that one.
Oh yeah,
and that would have been all
I love
analog.
this.
That would have been analog mastering because we weren't still at digital at that point yet.
Right.
Any final thoughts on that one, Eric?
I love this album too. It's kind of been one of those ones. It's not as kind of overtly proggy as the next 3. I feel like it's a little more laid back, and for that reason, I think when I was first getting into them, I was like, just dove head first into prog, and I was finding all these crazy bands. And this one was kind of a little. It was a bit of a grower for me. It took a little.
You mentioned it, but you mentioned it. This is more, in a lot of ways, this is more of a borderline classic rock album in a lot of ways. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a little bit longer songs, maybe, but a couple of them. But in all honesty, most of the songs are what 6-7 minutes.
Yeah.
Like Never Let Go's like 9.
No, I don't think there's anything that's 8 even. I think the longest
might be
one's
right.
like 7 and something.
Yeah, you might be right. Actually, now you say that, you're right. They aren't that long.
Actually, the longest one is 6.5. So yeah, not super long.
All right. So if you had to give it a number, Louis,
it gets a 9.5 from me. And if I could travel back in time, I would fire the people at the MCA who cut them off after the first album.
Yeah, not a wise move. Eric, how about you?
It's at least a 9, probably 9.25, somewhere around there. Yeah, nice, amazing album.
Okay, we shall persevere and move on, guys. The second album, Mirage, was released March 1st, 1970. Oh, look at that guy. He's got the old vinyl. Is that a reissue or?
Yeah, this is a new copy.
Okay, all right. That came out March 1st, 1974. Recorded November of 1973 at Island Studios, Decca Studios, and Air Studios in London. Was produced by David Hitchcock, and it came out on Darum and Gamma and Janus, as you said there, Louis. Yeah, so well, go ahead, do a little bit on that, Louis.
I think it's yeah, I think it's an amazing record. To me, it's the beginning of what I would consider their classic period. It had much better production than the first album.
Mm-hmm.
David Hitchcock was a pretty well known guy in the production business who had produced Caravan and Genesis before he
Mm.
produced Caravan.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, so they were starting to pull at least names because there's some other ones that are going to be coming up here too. That
Yeah.
okay, I was not aware of who that guy was, to be honest with you. It's not one that rang a bell to me. Um,
I
we'll
had
get
to research him too.
we'll get into. I'll do the track by track since I
Yeah.
tend to do those. But what songs always stand out to you on this album?
The Nimrodel three-part suite and Lady
Mm.
Fantasy.
Yeah, because there's only 5 songs on it,
Yeah.
right? And you know, those are the two big, kind of the big proggy epics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now I would say we're starting to venture into more what you think of when you think of prog music, right? Whatever that is,
Mm-hmm.
they now are starting to embrace it. Yet there's still some classic rock vibes on this one. There is. And let me see. What happened there? Oh, there we go. Okay. Couple quick notes on this. This is the first album that Andy Latimer starts playing the flute on. He did not play the flute on the first album.
True.
2 of the tracks are over 9 minutes, and those 2 are multi-part songs, Lady Fantasy and Nimrodel, The Procession, The White Rider. The latter being about the Lord of the Rings, which I didn't actually know that. The album was released on Gamma Records, Durham. Mick Rock. We know Mick Rock. That used to be a guy with Kerrang and all that stuff like that. Mick Rock. I think he does all the shit for Metallica. I believe he's their, yeah. Isn't he? Mick Rock's their main dude, right? Or no, that's Ross
You're
Halfin.
thinking Bob Rock.
No, Ross Halfin. I'm thinking. No, I'm thinking of photographers. Ross Halfin is the big guy that works for them. But it says Mick Rock shot the inner sleeve photo. Gamma was looking for an outlet for their project and quickly signed a long-term deal with Decca, London branch label Durham. The first fruits of that collaboration was Mirage. It does say, for the first installment, the Gamma Records label makes a production effort well above that of the first album with the MCA. And they had a heavyweight producer who David Hitchcock, Genesis, Caravan, and a bunch of different sound engineers were involved on this one. And there was no promo single, nor did it chart in the UK, but the general media response to the finished record was very promising. Prestigious Sound magazine was one of the very first to praise the work of Andy Ward and Doug Ferguson. Were described as well-oiled machines. Even further was the Beat magazine that declared Mirage Album of the Month, and finally came the surprise when the record entered the Billboard Top 200 at number 149 and remained visible for no less than 13 weeks. Today, Mirage is considered one of the essential progressive rock albums of all time, occupying position 21 on the list of 50 essential progressive rock albums from Rolling Stone magazine. In a Sputnik album review, critic Matthias Vanderlee declared Mirage as Camel's magnum opus, and the album was voted number 51 in top 100 prog albums of all time by readers of Prog magazine in 2014. So we get started with Free Fall, which is the down 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 down, right? Oh no, down. Those stabbing sort of keyboard things, they're at the beginning of that. Again, I do really hear the ripoff section. Here's the ripoff section of Allman Brothers, and this is still the classic rock song here. At 3:15, that little sequence they do, that down, 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 that's totally an Allman Brothers ripoff, right there.
Whipping Post.
Huh?
Whipping Post.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's so Allman Brothers, not even funny. And I'm sure if you talk to Andy, he'd be like, that was our Allman Brothers ripoff moment. But it's great. I mean, it's such a ripoff that I think the Allman Brothers probably should have gotten royalties out of that. That's how close it is. So, Erik, you good?
Yeah, I was having issues for a minute there, but I think I'm okay now.
You back?
No.
All right,
you're back.
Your face had this look of consternation. I thought maybe you were either frozen, but you were moving a little bit, so I wasn't sure.
Right.
All right, Super Twister. Really, this is a complex little song, man. There's a lot going on in this song, and here's the first time we hear Latimer's flute playing. Takes on a large role. So beautiful, man. I'm a sucker for flute. That's why I love, and I think you are too, Erik, because that's why we love Jethro Tull. And Erik and I did a not one, not two, but 3-part fucking Jethro Tull series that went on for like, I don't know, 17 hours or something. No, it wasn't that long. Maybe
I'll have to check that out.
We not only did all the studio albums, but then we broke down all the reissues with the book sets, with all the bonus material. So all those other tracks, man, it's pretty exhaustive. Sadly, nobody watches them, but whatever, fuck them. But yeah, then we get into that. We start with that pastoral, gentle, breezy prog. Then it moves into the more up-tempo stuff at about 3.5 minutes. And then at the very end, you hear the cracking of the coal one, with the 6-pack or whatever he's doing there. There we go. I'm not drinking tonight. I had more than enough for myself for the last week. I gotta give my liver a break until this weekend for Death to All and Gorguts. So Nimrodal, an amazing song, man. It's so good. Dark and mysterious opening. Those guitar arpeggiations that he's playing, the wistful sort of synths built into this fanfare militaristic sort of intro section, right? And we get the big marching band type orchestrations, and then it goes into this beautiful guitar melody that is reminiscent of Never Let Go. I hear some similar note choices there, but it's kind of a little bit there. And we get into the after the first verse, it unleashes into an organ and guitar jam with tons of potent, propulsive bass, great pocket drumming. But it's really on this song, it's Pete's synths, I think, that really stick out. The organs and synths really, really stand out on this song to me in that particular section. And then we get to that moody bass transition to where it just breaks down, and then you get those killer slides with all the fucking delay and echo, and you're just like, and there's growling bass behind it, and you're like, whoa, man. Like, that's when it enters into the Hawkwind sphere a little bit, right? And you're like, whoa, okay, man. Like, I wish I would have smoked
that whole, like, the bass break. I think it's bass and organ playing simultaneously.
Yes.
So it almost sounds like a distorted bass kind of effect. And man, that's a heavy riff too.
It's like fucking super heavy. And then you got Andy just throwing all those, all those crazy ass cool slides with lots of glissando. And I love that part. Like, every time I get to that part, it makes my fucking, gives me goosebumps, man. It's so cool.
When I was listening to the record, I kind of backed that track up and listened to it like 3 times in a row.
Well, it's, honestly, it's kind of like the evil metal section of the album. It's got that, there's kind of a dark evilness, and it makes sense that it's about, Tolkien.
From a placement standpoint, it's a great song to end the side on vinyl.
Oh, it's perfect.
The vinyl version too.
Right. And then we go on to side 2, which is just 2 tracks, one of them being very lengthy. You got Earthrise, which is a really breezy, wistful sort of thing. And then I still hear some Santana vestiges hanging in there a little bit, especially sort of the jammy thing. There's no, when I say Santana, I don't necessarily mean the Latin and the samba and that kind of vibe that Santana always brought, but the sort of the jamminess of the pentatonic blues stuff. You hear it. If you
pentatonic blues stuff, the interplay between Carlos and Greg Rowley. Yeah.
Same thing with Andy and with Pete. And I think too, it probably helped a lot with recency bias that you and I just did Santana a couple weeks ago, and it was like it was in my head.
Yeah.
But it was very, to me, it just stuck out a couple different times. In particular on this song, the thing I really like about this one though is that there's a lot of cool jazzy chord work from Andy underneath a lot of this. It's not straight up cowboy chords or bar chord stuff. It's a little bit more intricate than that. And
the
then
synths too on that one are just
I
awesome.
was just gonna say
memorable synth lines.
killer Barden synth and organ work on this, man. Total banger.
This is one of those that has to me the fusion-y touch that they bring into prog too. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
This is a kind of a weird reference, and maybe it's in my brain because I was getting into both albums at the same time about 10 years ago, but Jeff, you'll know this one, Tribulation, Children of the Night. There's a couple of songs on that album that have synth lines that are very similar to some of the ones like in this song. I don't know.
Really? I'm gonna have to check that. I'm gonna have to check that out then, because I didn't. You know how much I love that band, and I didn't put that together. You can't think of it all. I mean, I was working on which album was it? I think it was either Breathless or what's the one after Moon Madness? Is it Breathless? No, Rain Dances. Rain Dances. But it was Breathless. I was listening to Breathless. I'm like, man, this sounds like this band, and it was driving me nuts. I'm like, I went on to Rate Your Music, which I'll do from time to time. I'll go on to Rate Your Music and read other people's thoughts to see if it's lining up with what, or if I missed something. And they fucking mentioned the band. I'm not going to tell you yet. We're going to have to wait till you get there. But when I say the band, you're going to go, oh, fuck yeah, exactly. 100%. Louis will, I know. All right, so then we get to Lady Fantasy, which is kind of like the super prog song, right? It is the alpha anabolic steroid prog song on the album. And it's very much in different movements. It's very roller coastery, up and down, from light to shade, dark to light, all that kind of stuff like that. It's very wizards and wizardry sounding. It's just got that feel like, you're listening to expecting Gandalf to walk through the door or something. But the part that I love is the final 4 minutes, man. The final 4 minutes of this song are some of the best shit they ever wrote. Yeah. It's just, it's down, right? I mean, it's just it's so fucking heavy, man. And then the slide guitar comes back in, right? And it's so good. It's just that last 4 minutes.
I love the vocals, the whole thing. This has been kind of like their encore song, almost like forever.
Has it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It figures. Yeah. But I mean, just that ending section is just so fucking badass, man. And you're like, and that's where, again, is it mega complex in a King Crimson Fractured way or in a Gates of Delirium way or something? No, it's not like a Rick Wakeman Journey to the Center of the Earth or whatever. No, it's not like that. But there's a gravity to the way they write their songs that, like you said, Eric, the transitions are always smooth. They don't seem abrupt. The parts that change when they go into a change, and you're like, oh, this is another section of the song. It's very fluid. It's very natural, and it sounds unforced.
Fluid is a great word for like all these albums. Honestly.
Yep. Fluid. Very
much. They're all beautifully sequenced, and this is one of those songs that, when you listen to this, you don't understand why they never broke it big, because this is incredibly accessible shit.
Yes, it's very accessible. That is the one thing to say about Camel. These first 4 albums, and then even the next 4, which we get into changing dynamics of the music.
If you get somebody and play them some Camel and they don't like it, you have to go, what the hell is wrong?
What's wrong with you? Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
It's not them, it's you.
It's you, exactly. So I agree. For me, this is a 9.75 out of 10. I could probably almost call it a 10 out of a 10. But I'm not quite there because I have one album that is there that's
Yeah.
coming up. So this is just a fuck. Look, these first two albums, don't miss them. Just don't.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. If you're not a prog fan, okay, I get it. If you're not into progressive music, okay. If that's the only reason you're here on my channel, you probably shouldn't be, because I don't always just talk about. I go to very heavy metal shows. I was at Ulcerate 2 nights in a row. I was seeing them in Spirit Possession and Pyron last night. It was insane.
Mm-hmm.
This band Manat from New York City. Wow. I'll talk more about that some other time. But so I like a lot of heavy fucking shit. And you know that, Eric, of course. And Louis, you know that.
Yeah.
But I love great music. I love well-crafted music.
Yeah.
And this band, in particular, these first 4 albums, and even the next 4 aren't bad either. They just write great fucking music. And if you want to call it classic or prog or whatever, you do you when you want to put it in a compartmentalized. They've always been compartmentalized as prog, but I think they kind of exist, and it might be why they never got successful. They kind of exist with a foot in a couple different realms.
Yeah.
They're fusiony, they're classic, they're even semi-poppy at times coming up. And then they're proggy. And it's just, they're great players without having to be flashy and in your face about it. So, all right. So, 9.75 for me. Eric, any thoughts on this one quick?
One other thing I wanted to mention real quick is I think this is kind of has the most hard rock out of any of their albums. The most like kind of distorted guitar parts and stuff like that.
I agree.
It's not a huge thing on here, but it's a bit more than their other ones, I would say, for the most part.
Sabbath. It's not Sabbath.
No, no. And I did want to mention Lady Fantasy. There's one line in there where there's a vocal break, and it's like it always stuck out to me. It almost makes me chuckle sometimes. Just how prog it is. Saw you riding on a moon cloud.
Yeah,
it's just like
You're my lady
fantasy.
Yeah,
it's so prog. It's not even funny how proggy it is, right? And they do have, again, they do have those songs where they get deep into the storytelling prog thing. Particularly on Moon Madness and well, they don't have any lyrics on the next album that we're going to talk about, which is highly unique. And I totally forgot about that until I started re-digging back into it. But you're right. They do kind of lean into the prog tropes pretty hard every now and again,
Okay. Rating wise, I'm going to go by a very old rating of mine. When I used to rate stuff on the Gnosis 2000 site, which rated albums from a 1 to 15 scale, which I kind of like a little bit better than 1 to 10 because there's more room for subtlety there. This was a 13 out of 15.
This motherfucker changing up the point system on my show.
Of course.
What the fuck, man? I didn't give you permission to do that, goddammit. All right, Eric, are you going to do that too?
I'm older than you, and I've known you for more than 20 years, so I can get
true.
away with it.
I guess I'll let you slide, dude. What do you got on this one, Eric?
I'll stick to your system. I'll go 9.75. Yeah.
He doesn't want to piss the old man off. By old man, I mean the second oldest man here. Let's put it that way. Just forget that. You're the old man. I'm not. For once. That's not usually the case. But all right, so we're moving on to the Snow Goose. And Eric will show that, and I'll read off some stats on it. This came out April 25th, 1975. Recorded January of 75 at Island and Decca Studios. Came out on Gamma and Decca, and David Hitchcock again producing. Was released due to the critical success of the White Rider suite, based on J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, which was the Nimrodel. That prompted the group to write a more novel-inspired conceptual suite. Oh, look at that. Is that a new one too?
No,
this is an original. This is
an original US release on Janus.
Wow, look at that, dude.
Yeah.
Nice. Where'd you get that at?
I'll say in a minute. You can finish up the.
Okay, all Um,
No, sir.
and where were we? Yeah, the band considered several novels on which to base their next album. For a time, they settled on Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, and some songs were written before the idea was abandoned in favor of Paul Gallico's novella The Snow Goose. The album's name, originally The Snow Goose, was altered.
Quick,
Right?
between Siddhartha and the Snow Goose, they also considered Hermann Hesse's book Steppenwolf, which was impossible to make into an album.
I don't even know that book.
Yeah, it's a. I've read all the Hermann Hesse catalog during high school.
Oh, did you?
Amazing too.
Pretty deep stuff, or what?
Yeah.
Okay. Hermann Hesse was the German impressionistic writer, I guess.
German impressionistic writer that we talked about. He's the one. Oh, remember the quote on Abraxas when we did the Santana?
That's right. It was from Abraxas. That's right.
From one of his books.
That's right. Right. Yeah. So it was originally the Snow Goose was called the Snow Goose. Then they altered it to music inspired by the Snow Goose to accommodate legal protests by the Paul Gallico, I guess from him actually. The album was originally due to feature lyrics based on Gallico's text, but this was abandoned due to the copyright objections. The music was mostly written over a fortnight in a cottage in Devon, England. Recording began in January 1975 at Island with producer David Hitchcock, Rhett Davies. Rhett Davies, I believe, went on to work with
a lot of people.
Yeah, didn't he do the first Brian Ferry? Oh, come on, man! Roxy Music album, I believe he did that. Right?
I don't know if he did the first one.
No,
but he did. He did some of theirs. I know.
Yeah. I know he did some. Yeah, that's what I thought. And let's see the duffel coat on the album's credits was used by Andy Latimer and Doug Ferguson on Epitaph to simulate a flapping of wings. So I guess they were shaking the coat. The album was released late April 1975, eventually reaching number 22 in UK album charts that summer. It spent 13 weeks on the chart and was certified silver. In the US, the album was released in July and reached number 162. It was critically successful and sold well in Europe and Japan, and in 2014 was voted number 31 in the top 100 albums of prog. I'm shocked this got to 22 in the UK prog with no lyrics at all, like no vocals. That blows my mind, because when I started listening to this again, I'm like, wait, we're like 6 songs in. They haven't sang anything yet. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
People had better taste in the 1970s.
Well, they certainly had much longer attention spans. That's for sure. You'd never be able to sell something like that now. If you did, it'd be called an ambient album or something. And
you don't think it'd go big on Spotify?
Well, I don't think to young people. Well, I don't know. Maybe people would use it to sleep to. I don't know. I was talking to Matt from Horrendous on the way down to the show last night. And I was listening to the first Camel album. I said, you should know this band because he loves Yes. He's like, dude, I used to fall asleep to the Snow Goose. I'm like, wow, okay, look at that. Heavy metal dude, right?
Yeah.
All right, so any thoughts on these before we jump in? Louis, go ahead. I'll do the trick.
You covered the history pretty good. One of the facts that the lyrics were not used is that RCA at the same time wanted to pull out an orchestral version of this with Spike Milligan, the comedian, reading of the Paul Gallico book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right,
that's actually on the booklet to the box set.
That's kind of weird.
Very weird.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that didn't happen.
Well, it probably happened and sold about 4 copies.
Well, they did do it then. Didn't they do it then later? They did the orchestral version in 2013, right? Am I right about that?
There was a little bit of orchestra there, and on the live record, there is a version of this recorded live with the London Symphony Orchestra.
Okay, wow. Okay, I don't own that live. Although, is that live album on this album? It probably is.
No,
isn't it? No, it's not on there.
Hardly any of that stuff is there.
Yeah, this is all stuff that wasn't released,
and it's definitely one to get.
Okay, I'll be looking for that.
Look at my shirt.
Yeah, I see it. Nice. Look at you. I don't have any Camel shirts. I don't know where to find them at, man. I'll have to find a Prague specific shirt vendor out there, man. All right, so I'll run through these quick because there's no real vocal lines to talk about. But the Great March is sort of an intro atmospheric thing. Is it Rider or Raider? Raider?
Riader. There's an A there.
Riader?
I'll use the Hispanic pronunciation since I can get it. Who knows how it's pronounced?
It could be Riader, I guess. Yeah. Man, I gotta say, the fucking melody on Riader is the most beautiful fucking melody ever written, ever, anywhere. Hands down, forget it. It is just every time I hear it, it makes me just smile.
That's also the one segment of this album that made it into the live gigs after they played the whole thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. It's such a perfectly gorgeous, beautiful melody that it's just like you hear it and you're just like you melt. You're like, oh my God. It just makes you happy listening to that melody. It's so beautiful. I love it. Again, it's in my top 2 or 3. It's up there with Never Let Go and one or other 2 tracks that I'll mention coming up. Then we got Riader Goes to Town, kind of quirky, very early Genesis vibes, like Trespass or Nursery Crime vibes. Yeah. I heard. That's what I heard. Then it gets into that kind of funky section there. And then Andy Latimer just blasts out a killer solo in there, man.
The second solo, the second guitar solo is killer.
It's amazing. And you know what it reminds me a lot of? It's got that jammy section in the second half of the song reminds me a lot of echoes from Pompeii. It's got that live improv-y sort of that kind of vibe to it. Sanctuary, spacious acoustic and electric, clean guitar interlude. Again, Andy is a master at creating beautiful guitar melodies. He probably does it in his sleep. You know what I mean? Fritha. Yeah, I don't actually have a note on that one, so maybe you guys can speak to that one. I don't remember that one.
I love kind of the acoustic guitar part on Fritha.
Okay, so it's mostly acoustic? Okay.
Yeah.
And then we get to the Snow Goose, and it is just beautiful, man. What a Latimer's guitar tone. And that's another thing that has to be said. Andy Latimer's guitar tones on all these albums are so good, man. Like, I don't know what that dude's playing because I never look. I know he plays a Les Paul mainly, but I don't know what his amp system is. I don't know what his effects unit are. I would love to talk to him, but he probably doesn't do interviews these days. But, man, what I would love to talk to him about his guitar sound because it's some of the best pure guitar tone you're ever going to hear out there. None of it's super overdriven. It's just this beautiful, his clean tones are ringing but they're throaty and they're full. And then when he does juice it up a little bit with distortion, it's always controlled. It's
very lyrical.
Very lyrical. His playing is extremely lyrical. Yeah. And I would say that song in particular really, really reminds me of Peter Green from Fleetwood Mac. The tones on that song.
Which is an interesting note because Peter Bardens actually was in a band with Peter Green in the early 60s.
Was he really?
And Mick Fleetwood.
Okay. Cool.
I don't think I knew that. Wow.
Yeah.
Shit. How about that?
I also just earlier today I listened to Peter Barden's first solo album, The Answer, which is pretty cool as well, and that has Peter Green on it on guitar.
Oh, it does have him on.
Yes.
Okay, so all right, there you go.
Yeah.
What was that called, Peter? What was that Pete Barden solo album called? Was it Peter?
The Answer?
He had 2 albums early, The Answer and a self-titled one called Peter Bardens, which was the second one.
Okay. I've not checked that first. Kind of jammy, bluesy rock, right? Kind of jam rock.
And he was also, for a period of time, in Van Morrison's backing band in the 60s.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, and then who did he, when he left Camel, when he split from Camel, where did he go? He went
solo. He went solo and did some solo ambient albums.
I thought he played in somebody's band though a little bit there before.
Maybe I don't remember.
You have to look that up, Eric. I could have swore I
He,
saw he
he
played in somebody's band.
he played on some of Peter Green's albums.
Well, again,
Um,
going back to that, this song, "The Snow Goose," just has a very Peter Green albatross vibe to it. It's got that sound, right? Friendship is makes me this song makes me think of hobbits tripping on acid. Uh, the keys mimicry of the bassoon or the reeds. They got the bassoon and reed. That chirpy sort of sound that a bassoon makes. It's just a little musical interlude. Migration. I don't have any notes on that one either. How did I fucking miss that? Somehow I missed that one too.
Migration, I love had some like wordless vocals. It's one of the few things that has vocals, and it kind of speeds up the tempo when you compare it with the earlier part of the record.
Okay, so it's picking up the pace on that.
Up a little bit, yeah.
And because then we get to Riata Alone, which is primarily a synth and key track. Beautiful melodies on that again. There's a little bit of vocal mimicry there where they're kind of doing the mimicking the melody lines with their vocals. Flight of the Snow Goose, you can feel the movement of flight. You could just feel it moving in the piece. It's got that propulsive sort of feeling. It's also got a very, like, to me, it's hang on, let me make sure I didn't miss. Oh yeah, there's ebb and flow movement, really beautiful melodies between the synths, the organs, and the guitars, and the bass is really prominent on that one, as I recall too. Preparation, I love that little interlude. It's kind of a repeated guitar line, and then there's layered over the flutes and the woodwinds, and it's just got that sunshiny vibe to it. It's just very like happy and sunshiny, like, you know what I mean? Like I like, to me, sunshiny always means like good, it's good feeling stuff. And then you got that one also has the really killer, which I think makes the whole song, might be my favorite part of the album. It's got the female vocals on there where she's sort of doing a Great Gig in the Sky sort of thing, maybe, if you will, a little bit, but a lot more ethereal and a lot more floaty and whatnot. And the funny thing about that is I went to write that person's name down. They don't know who it is. The band doesn't even know who did it.
Oh, who did the vocals? Yeah.
Yeah, they don't know the girl that did it. She just came in. It says the female vocal on Camel's album, The Snow Goose, was uncredited, and her identity is a mystery that even the band members don't remember. She was hired to improvise wordless vocals for the track Preparation and is credited with creating a stunning effect. She's the stunning effect. And it is. It's such a beautiful piece. Dunkirk, a cool organ.
A quick aside. It's a funny thing you brought the Great Gig in the Sky, because I ran into a story today about the woman who did the wordless vocals in the Great Gig in the Sky, who actually sued Pink Floyd to get co-composer credit in the track and won in 2004.
I do remember hearing about it. Was that Claire? Was her name Claire something?
Claire something.
Mary Clayton.
What was it?
Mary Clayton?
No, not Mary Clayton. Mary Clayton was Joe Cocker's backup singer, who did Superstar.
Claire something. I can't remember.
It's Claire something. I can't remember the last name, but she basically sued just to get co-composer credit and no money.
She got no money out of it.
After she got co-composer,
I was going to say after
some of the royalties kicked in, but she was not suing for her main drive. Was to get composer credit.
Was to get which I don't blame her, because she's like the feature part of that song there, man. I mean, it's fucking crazy, dude. I didn't know that
Claire Torrey?
Claire Torrey, yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, I knew her name was Claire. I couldn't remember her last name. And she's still alive, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
I'm sure Roger wasn't happy about that, because he's seldomly happy about anything. But okay, so Dunkirk, cool little guitar melody. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Deep Purple. That's the one that reminds me a bit of Deep Purple.
It has kind of like a march type beat.
Marching band.
Marching band type beat.
It's also got a weird Gentle Giant vibe to it at times, too, I think. There's a little bit of Gentle Giant. I know you love your Gentle Giant there, Mr. Luis Torregrossa.
Mm.
I tried to get him to join us for that. Thankfully he didn't, because that was a shit show that night, unfortunately, because that dude.
I have a conflictive relationship with Gentle Giant, and let's leave it at that.
I like them more than I ever thought I would, but they're not like my go-to band for prog. All right, so Epitaph, percolating, sometimes whimsical track. Fritha Alone, intensely sad, painful sort of piece. That melodies sound very painful, but in a beautiful way. La Princesse Purdue, big synthy ARP synths section, solo, great solos on that with a gorgeous track. Kind of swords and sorcery, lords and ladies, sort of regal at times. Lots of orchestrations on that piece. And then we fade out again with a coda of The Great March again, which is sort of a mysterious sort of ambient sort of thing. And here's the thing about this album. Again, there are really no songs that have any lyrics at all. No verse, chorus, no nothing. No song, not even any. We don't even have any recited lyrics, like you said, reading this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yet it really works, because the guitars and the keyboards all play the melodies that you would think in your head, oh, that's where the chorus would be, or that's where what I mean?
It would come in, yeah.
They're able to use their instruments to create the illusion that you're kind of almost hearing. Like, I felt like I was hearing lyrics, even though I wasn't. It was just really weird. And so again, 99.98% of this album is vocalist. So if that's not your thing, if you want to hear vocals and you want to hear hooks and stuff like that, you're not going to hear it, but you will hear it in the music. A lot of hooks in the music, but again, complex without sounding complex again is really what is the thing. So I got this at 9.75. I loved listening to this, and it really is a great piece to like throw on if you want to veg down and have a beer or two and just kind of chill and just kind of like relax your nervous system a little bit. I love this album. Go ahead, Eric. Tell us about this one for you.
Yeah. While you're talking about it, I mean, it kind of made me realize I should maybe sit down and, because there's a little, if you look at the back of the record here, there's a little write-up about kind of what's happening in the story for each track.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, I only got this a few months ago, so I never, thought to look that up even. I've only ever listened to it on streaming or whatever before. So someday I should sit down and listen to it and read along with the tracks as they're happening, because I didn't really pull out any tracks to talk about with this one, especially because what I do with this is I just put it on and I just, it just plays and I just listen to it all in one go. It's not like there's separate songs.
Exactly.
To me, but
and I don't think, honestly, if you went like, I mean, other than, okay, maybe Riader or whatever, Raider, and maybe that one you could listen to. I could listen to that over and over and over and over and over and over. But that one has such a distinct that melody. It functions so much like a vocal melody that you're like, it's an earworm, like crazy earworm. And I don't know, something about it too, strangely kind of sounds Renaissanceian. It's got that Ren Fair vibe to it. Dun, 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 dun. I feel like I should be doing a jig or something with a big fucking cup of meat and a horn and wearing like chainmail,
turkey leg,
a turkey leg, and chainmail, and nothing else, just chainmail that has big. No, never mind. Nobody in their right mind would ever want to see that for real. But that one might be the exception. But there is no like singles on this album,
No. This is,
it's kind of just like one song, basically.
One big long piece, one big long suite, and Strom No More here is saying, is this all? Is it all a instrumental? Yes, it is all an instrumental album. There's a little bit of ethereal female vocals in the what's it called? Procession? Or no? I'm sorry, Preparation. And there's a little bit of vocalization in the one that Migration, I think it is, that Louis said, Migration and Radar alone. But that's it. And it's not any kind of like noticeable words or anything like that. It's, Louis, you got anything to say on this?
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when the people at Decca were listening.
Oh shit! Are you kidding me?
We're listening to this album,
yeah,
because to me this is from a commercial standpoint, the
Caravanserai.
I am sure somebody at the label had a stroke when they listened to this.
I was just gonna say
nothing that was marketable.
I can imagine they're sitting there, and then when the guys walk out, they're like, "What the fuck are we supposed to do with this shit?" You know what I mean?
I like Erik had a hard time writing notes and isolating everything, because this is something. And I've listened to the studio version, also listened to the live version on a live record, prepping for this, and it's impossible to separate everything. It all just flows.
It is.
It's a beautifully flowing concept album, which is the same thing that can be said about other concept albums that Camel did, and we'll get to one of those going down the road.
Yep. Yeah, there's no real way you can sit unless you're sitting there with it playing on YouTube, where you're watching the minute markers and somebody divided out the tracks based on the minutes. There's no discernible endpoints or starting point for any of this.
No,
basically.
And none of the CD versions have the description of
indexing.
Not the indexing, but the description of the concept that Erik's vinyl copy has.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I have not seen that on any of the CD reissues.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking.
I'm assuming they have it on the vinyl reissues. I'm not sure. This is the only copy that I've ever.
I'd assume they might have it on the vinyl reissues, but I have never seen it on a CD reissue.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. I actually just noticed that like 10 minutes ago when we were talking about it. You were asking me before too where I got this. This is actually, I never chimed in much earlier talking about how, I mean, these albums still are not the easiest to get.
No, they're not.
That's why I still only have the first 4, and I finally just picked them up in the last year or so. Mm-hmm. This is the only one I've ever actually come across like at a record store or anything like that. The rest I had to order online, and the Mirage that I got, the cheapest one that I could find was like $45 plus shipping Canadian. But so
I've never run into their LPs used or new anywhere so far.
Yes. So when I did see this, I had to buy it. I mean, it was at a flea market in Edmonton, Alberta. There's this huge one corner of the flea market is just this huge record store. This guy has been doing it for decades, and I was talking to the guy, or as I took them up to the counter, I was buying a Nectar album and a few other things as well. And he said he's a big prog fan, and he said that he saw Nectar and Camel live both like in the mid 70s when they toured here too. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, look at that guy. He's probably even older than Lewis, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, it looked like he was probably mid 60s at least. But
no, Louis is like 82, man.
No, I'm like 70.
I know. On this one, and we didn't show it, but in the box set, you get 3 envelopes like this, 3 multi, like gatefolds with all the CDs and the Blu-rays in them. But this is the first one, and it's got Camel Mirage with bonus tracks, Camel with 3 bonus tracks, and some live stuff in there. And then it's got the Mirage Sessions, which were, I guess, either BBC sessions, I believe. And then, Radio 1 sessions. But then it's got a live set. But also here, you got the music inspired by the Snow Goose. And then you got 2 bonus tracks there. And then you've got the Snow Goose Sessions, which are BBC Radio 1 in concert of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then you got the BBC TV, the Old Grey Whistle Test, where they do 3 of the songs. And then we get down here on Live at Royal Albert Hall, you get the whole entire album performed start to finish, and then you get down to the end here and they tack on Lady Fantasy. So, this, if you really can find, if Erik is right about this and you go to Camel's website and Andy has some of these that he's stashed away and selling for a decent price, and by that I mean under $300, this is the only way to get all this stuff, man, and you really can't, you can't go wrong.
Actually, the Royal Albert Hall version is available on a live record.
Separate.
The separate is if you can find a copy on Discogs for a lot cheaper.
Okay, there you go. There you go. All right. Moving on. Do we have any final thoughts on Snow Goose?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I just think it's a total masterclass in instrumental, rock writing, and the way it tells a story without ever having to use any lyrics or vocals.
No,
is
crazy.
just amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's definitely like probably a 9.5 for me at least. So
all right. Moving on to Moon Madness. And Erik, you have that one still, right? Okay, there we go. CD on that. I have to say one thing though, before we go any further. Camel has not exactly had the greatest artwork for any of their albums. Now, this is not terrible, but it is not great. Snow Goose is kind of, it's kind of low key. Okay. Mirage is kind of cool. The first album is not that great looking to me. I don't know. Yeah. This Moon Madness, they're definitely trying to ply off of a little bit of a Dean. Roger Dean.
Yeah, but it's nowhere near on the same level.
Nowhere near on the same level, exactly. So I don't think Roger Dean was like exclusive just to Yes, he did other stuff, right?
Actually, if you think the UK copy of Moon Madness is bad, you have to see the US artwork, which is on the lower corner.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's right. That's
the artwork that Janus used for the US version.
Pull it up closer a little bit there. That is absolutely horrid. I remember seeing it. I didn't know that was the US cover. What the fuck?
That is the US cover, yeah.
I can imagine the guys in the band are like, yeah, so check this shit out. Like, what the fuck, man? How are we going to sell any albums when it looks like that when we're going up against, Close to the Edge or Yes songs or fucking Genesis mid-tier stuff, like Nursery Crime or something, or not Nursery Crime.
I do think that's the only one that had a different cover on the US.
Boy, give me the UK. Give me the UK Mirage, one all day.
Mirage actually did too.
Okay,
and it is not good. I kind of want to get that US version of Moon Madness just because it's so ridiculous and hilarious. And if you get a gatefold of that, it does have this original art on the inside at least.
Okay.
But, let me see. I can pull it up here. Yeah, here's the. Oh, I've got to turn my brightness down. Sorry about that.
Well, Louis and I probably have it in our books.
Oh, yeah, probably somewhere.
Okay, yeah, I think that was in the book too. That is.
All right, but you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I dig that. That one sells me. Okay.
That one's way better than the Moon Madness one.
It does.
One just
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, way better. It does have that kind of vibe of it has a vibe of 70s serial killer vans.
Yeah,
like on the artwork on the outside of some.
The Moon Madness one, if they had a Grammy for the worst cover art for that year, it would have been a contender.
Yeah, it's not good. All right, so Moon Madness comes out April of 76, recorded February of 76 at Basing Street, London. It's on Decca and Gamma, and now Rhett Davies is the producer of this album, along with Camel. For studio album, It's the last album by the group's original lineup, which consisted of Andy Latimer, Pete Bardens, Andy Ward, and Doug Ferguson. After reaching success with their previous album, the all-instrumental Snow Goose, the band started on a follow-up and incorporated vocals and lyrics to the new music. Moon Madness has a loose concept with one track based on personality of each band member. Airborne is for Andy, Chord Changes for Pete Bardens, Another Night for Doug Ferguson, and Lunar Sea for Andy Ward. In 2018, 42 years after its release, Camel performed the album live in its entirety. Wow, shit. Wish I'd have known about that. Camel's popularity.
I think I have a DVD version of
probably over in the UK,
somewhere.
right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing. Let's see. Hang on. Let me find out. Okay. The popularity grew in 75 with the critically acclaimed instrumental album, which was followed by the group being voted Britain's brightest hope by readers of the nationwide magazine music publication Melody Maker in late 75. The band spent 3 weeks writing music for the follow-up album and recorded Moon Madness in January and February. At the time of release, Latimer said he was pleased with the album despite the needs to rush to finish. He actually didn't like his solo on Lunar Sea, which is crazy. Fucking what? Like what? Like, are you out of your mind?
Yeah, I agree with you.
He wanted to change it, and they're like, we don't have time. So, anyways, he said despite the rush to finish, the last track, Lunar Sea, ends with a minute-long wind-blowing effect. On some LP pressings, the record arm would skip during the end of the part. That part naturally returned to the beginning of the effect, playing it endlessly. The terminal groove, they called it. In the Q and Mojo Classic Special Edition, Pink Floyd and the Story of Prog Rock, the album came in number 23 in the list of 40 top cosmic rock albums. It was voted number 58 in the top 100 prog albums of all time by readers of Prog magazine. And it ranked 16th greatest prog album in Prog archives. And again, they performed it in its entirety. After this album, Doug Ferguson leaves. The story that I understand is that he and Andy Ward were not getting along. Andy wanted to move in a more jazz direction as opposed to a prog direction. And also Pete Bardens kind of wanted to go in a jazz direction. And Doug Ferguson wanted to go a little more mainstreamy, and there was a lot of tension there. And I guess
it actually gets more confusing than that, because that was a time where at the beginning, Doug Ferguson actually wanted to go into a jazzy direction, and he actually brought Mel Collins, who used to play sax with King Crimson, into the band, and then they went too much in a jazzy direction for Doug Ferguson, and then Doug Ferguson left. It's one of those.
And they went back to prog, like super prog, right? Because to me, honestly, I think this is their most proggy album. As far as pure prog, I think it's the most prog sounding to me. Mm-hmm. But there's still some vestiges of classic rock. There's some jazziness to it. And there is a lot of, there's some long songs that are, Chord Change in particular, and Lunar Sea. Again, 2/6 of the album, a third of the album is and lengthwise, it's even longer than a third, is instrumental stuff. Mm-hmm. So, it is Michael Ockerfeld's favorite album. And we're not gonna rank them tonight, because we're going to wait till we do part 2 and rank them all at the end. But
that's impossible to do.
Well,
okay,
I'll cheat a little bit and say, well, you'll be able to tell by something in a minute here. But
okay,
my favorite too. All right, Aristillus. The first thing I thought of when I heard this is, there's no way Marillion didn't hear this song. There's no way they weren't influenced by this song. There's no way, because this is what Marillion sounded like a few years before Marillion, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And from what I read, Fish, when he was auditioning for Marillion, was like, well, these guys sound just like fucking Camel. And that's probably where they got a lot of their inspiration. Mm-hmm. You get an insistent rhythmic intro with killer vintage synths and effects. And it's just this cool mantra-like song. I guess you could call it like a mantra almost. It's not very long. Mm-hmm. It's only 2 minutes, but it's kind of like an intro sort of into the next bit here, and that would be Song Within a Song. Man,
Oh,
man, what a song. Holy
that's
shit.
right there with Never Let Go and Lady Fantasy.
It's right
That's
there
one
with
of the
Never Let
classics.
Go for me.
Yeah.
I'm a little less high on Lady Fantasy than you. I do love it. But this song, man, everything is going on in this song. It's just fucking awesome, man. Doug Ferguson sings most of it. This is just a gorgeous song. The flute is to die for in this song. You got the keys have that nostalgic, wistful 70s sound to them, which you hear on Never Let Go.
The keys are absolutely killer on Song Within a Song. Yeah.
The moment the song changes into the more instrumental section, approximately 3 minutes in, is just magical, man.
Yeah.
They go into the almost disco part around 420, where it's doing that. It's got that galloping sort of bass going on, pulsing bass, I call it. And then Pete is doing all kind of crazy killer soloing over top of it. And then with the Moog or the ARP, it's probably the Moog, I think. And then you get to that last minute of the song, which is just, man, the last minute and a half of this song is like an it's better than most orgasms I've probably had in my life. Not that we need to talk about that. Yeah, let's just move on from there. Anyway, it just is just, fuck, dude. And the lyrics, here's where some of the lyrics actually are cool as fuck. The sun has left the sky. Now you can close your eyes, leave the world behind until tomorrow. The dream is like a song. It leads you on and on. The piper plays his tune, so must follow. So far beyond the sky, not knowing how or why, you realize the feeling is forever. And though another day may steal your dreams away, you and the song will always stay together. That's just such a cool bunch of lines there that maybe they're kind of poetic, hippie gibberish, but they're not proggy. They're more universal in their thought process. And I believe Latimer's singing this one, I think.
I think Latimer is singing.
Oh, no. Doug sings it. Doug sings the mellow part, and then Ferguson or Andy does some of the backing vocals on it. And man, dude, this song's right there with Never Let Go for me. It's so incredible.
Yeah.
I just love this song.
On the original vinyl version of a live record, which was the first Camel record I ever bought, it starts with Never Let Go and then goes to Song Within a Song.
Oh, man. Talk about a wet dream right there, man. Fucking A. Holy hell.
Right there.
What is it? Oh, is that the album?
Yeah.
Ah, wow.
Yeah.
And then Lunar Seas.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff, you need to hear this album if you haven't. Yeah.
I'll pick it up. I'll look for some shit tonight. Because you say it's not on the box set, Louis.
Some of the stuff is, but the sequencing is different. Not everything is on it.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll look for it.
And if I were to tell anybody who wanted to start getting into Camel what to get first, it would be the live record.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest live guy, but I definitely got to own that. So, and I also
any of those lists of the 10 greatest live records that doesn't include that record is full of shit.
Okay. I trust you. I also got to get the later stuff past whatever the last album is in here. Which one did you say is the last one in here, Eric?
We're
84, so
finishing up with Nude, I think. Yeah.
Which one?
Nude.
Nude was 81.
On the box set, though.
Yeah,
the box set goes up to Stationary Traveler.
Well, yes, Stationary Traveler.
And then it's got the Pressure Points Live, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does have Pressure Points. I'll have to look and see what's not on here that I need from there, and I guess I'll just go to Andy and get it. Probably be the best. Either there or Ken Golden probably has it at Laser's Edge or something like that. All right. Chord Change. That's the Pete Barton track. Stellar up-tempo, mostly prog jams with a bit of atmospheric kind of vibes here and there. No, there's some almonds in this one a little bit, but not much. This is the album where I feel like Camel really sounds entirely like Camel on this album, because they were stealing a little bit from the Santanas in the early. Maybe you could make the argument the Snow Goose is mostly there, but I still heard some moments there. This is the only song on the album that I hear a little bit of almonds in there, and it's barely. But see, on Chord Change, I love Andy's playing when that slower section kicks in, like midway through the song, maybe, I don't know, 3-4 minutes in. And when the tempo really slows down, his solo is killer. But really, the highlight of this song is the Barden's solo, the organ solo. It's just, man, it's like the things of, it's around 5 minutes. They start getting heavier and get all that cascading organ stuff that kind of comes in on top of each other. And there is a little bit of Diary of Elizabeth Reed in this one too. I can hear it. That just, that's the one song that I still heard a little bit of it. Then you got a beautiful little almost interlude piano and gentle vocal Spirit of the Water track that's just very gentle and like as you said, Eric, everything feels relaxed and flows. It's just a flow state. And then we get into Another Night. This is a fucking great song, man. This fucking song rules, man. And the thing about it, it's called Another Night. It's got that night vibe to it, right? This is their most Gilmore sounding song. This is very Floydy kind of, echoes, maybe a little bit of Dark Side, maybe a little bit of Omagama, a little bit of that.
It was a single of the album.
And it's like how long? Like
I think they did an edited version. I'm not
Probably.
Sure. But it's probably something that will never get released as a single in modern times.
Yeah, well, here's what I love about it, man. That the guitar looping riff it starts out at, there's like two arpeggios that are kind of overlapping each other. It's kind of and then Latimer has generally that world weary vocal. He just sounds like almost sounds like he just woke up and he's just singing after, like, from bed or something. Like he just woke up and grabbed the microphone from bed or something. Mm-hmm. But what's super cool about this is, and he does sound like a lot like Gilmore to me, but it's kind of sinister, this song.
Yeah.
This song has a dark edge to it that most Camel doesn't sound evil or dark or scary. Mm-hmm. This song has it's got a vibe,
It's a little bit menacing almost. The it's a kind of hard rock song, but not like hard rock in the kind of typical kind of early blues based kind of stuff either.
Except it's got that one riffy part where I can see it, man. That's the fist banging part, the anthemic fucking like sports arena part is in that song. That's pretty cool too. I love that song. I love that song.
I also thought that the melody and the ensemble work were kind of great there.
So good. Yeah, that like, if you bought this album, as if that wasn't enough, those two songs are like more than enough, right?
No.
But and also song within a song and Aristillus. But then we get to Airborne, which is the track about Latimer, and kind of it's Never Let Go Part 2 in a lot of ways to me. If you listen to it, a lot of the melodies are very, very similar to it, I think, in a lot of ways. It's the flute. Man, the flute on this track is just the bomb, baby. I just love the flute. I'm like a sucker. I'm like a whore for the flute. Bring on the flute, man. And it's so killer in this song. And then we get to the big Mahath, the ender of all enders, and it's Lunar Sea. And man, it's a space rocker. It's a Hawkwind. It's a prog thing. It's jazzy. It's obvious, a lot of obvious nods to what we now think of as prog tropes, but they're there. You know what I mean? You can kind of pick out there's the Genesis part. There's the Yes part. That kind of thing. And the solo by Andy, man, it's so killer. I love the stuff in all the other songs we talked about, in particular Never Let Go, and that's such a beautiful solo. There's one other song coming up though where Andy might top this solo, and it's on an album that you wouldn't really expect it to be on, but
Okay.
it is. So that probably already gives it away to you guys. But yeah, for me, this is a 10 out of 10. This is my perfect Camel album. I love it's nostalgically beautiful for me. It feels like I can't explain it. Louis, you understand this better than Erik, and I'm not saying this in a denigrating way, Erik, but you're 30. Both he and I are kind of weirdly coming more towards the end of our lives than we're certainly closer to that than we are the beginning. And you do, most people, at least I know I do resort to nostalgia a lot because I don't know, it's just a human.
You're old enough to be nostalgic.
I'm old enough to be nostalgic, sadly. I'll be 60 in March. And this album, for some reason, it sounds like when I drop the needle on the grooves or put the CD on, even though it's digital. Okay, so yeah, let's look past that part. But it's like I can relive and connect with so many nostalgic parts of my life through this album. It's crazy. Yeah. Through the sounds, through the songs, through the melodies, through the lyrics, through the whole thing. I think somebody mentioned, oh yeah, Strahan No More said it's Michael Ockerfeld's favorite Camel album. Well, I kind of get why. I think I get why. Michael's a little younger than me. I think he's only 51, but he's not that far off. So he knows what that's all about, and it's a very important thing.
Well, but he drinks just as much as we do.
What's that?
He drinks just as much as we do. Or you do.
Well, I don't know. I that was I was not fucking hammered. I sobered up enough to drive, but I was a little worried. I hung out at the show longer than usual because I didn't want to get in the car right away. And I'm semi paying for it today, but yeah, so this album just feels very life affirming and warm and happy in a content sort of way. And I love that feeling. So Erik, thoughts on Moon Madness?
Yeah. I mean, spoiler alert, it's also my favorite. I mean, this is basically a perfect album to me. Some of my favorite songs of all time on here. And just, like, I don't know. I mean, it isn't all happy throughout. I mean, it does have an ebb and flow of emotions throughout it. But yeah, it just I don't know. It's weirdly nostalgic even for me. It's kind of one of those albums that just I know I'm only 30, but like it takes me back to a decade ago, which is a third of my life ago. So it's a decent
Big
percentage.
Big chunk,
of when I first heard this album, and I was really like that was kind of the first time in my life when I was really exploring a lot of music. It was the first point when I had high-speed internet suddenly, and I could go on YouTube and discover all this new music or new to me music. And so I was just getting into a lot of cool stuff, and I don't know, it was a cool period in my life, and it just kind of takes me back to that as well. And one thing too that I will say, you're talking about how I don't know, every Camel album basically it always makes me feel good instantly when I put it on. It's just that kind of music.
Yeah.
Even though
That's
it's
what
not,
I was saying.
it's not all major chords the whole time
No,
or
it's
anything like
not.
that.
No.
But it's just the overall vibe of it is just it's relaxing. It just puts me in a good mood. Even if I'm feeling terrible, if I put on a Camel album, I'm fine. I'm okay.
I mean, I don't, if you want to headbang and throw the goat horns and chug beers and go fucking and
They have parts where you can do that too.
well, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think you can hit the pit to Camel. Let's put it that way.
No, not
that'd be a great shirt. Hit the pit to Camel, right? but I mean, yes, there are heavy parts, there are hard rock parts. There's a lot of great fucking riffs, but they're not a band I want to listen to if I'm in an aggro fucking hateful mood. They're just not that because they just make me feel good. And
Well, they
that's
might
great.
get you out of that mood.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah, if you wind up feeling depressed after a Camel record, it's not Camel, it's you.
exactly. And I think that's very true. So where you're a 10 out of 10?
Yeah.
All right. I kind of figured we were going to be on the same wavelength.
I'm a 9.93 out of 10.
A 9.93. Wait a minute. He was doing 15s. Now he reverted back to the 10. What the fuck? He had too much to drink already. He went back to the 10s. He's like, that's too much math. The math ain't math.
Mostly because I rate a live record, which was the first record I heard of them, as a 10 or a 15, and this is a slight tad below.
Yeah, here we go. Here's the.
Right.
Here's
So
the,
I did the math for you. It would be a 14.895 out of 15.
Actually, when I was rating them out of 15 on the nosy side, it was a 15.
Okay.
All right. So here's the. This is the little pipe sticker that comes with the box set.
Yeah.
And it is a 32 box, 4 Blu-ray. And on the Blu-rays, which we didn't mention, is there are 5 high-res 5.1 surround sound and stereo mixes of Camel, Mirage, Snow Goose, Moon Madness, and Nude by Stephen W. Taylor, not Steven Wilson.
Steven Taylor is an amazing remixer.
Is he?
Who probably, if I were to have a record with remixing to 5.1 or Atmos and I couldn't get Steven Wilson, I'd call him.
He's probably cheaper than Wilson, I'm guessing.
He's probably cheaper. He's done like stuff like all the Bebop Deluxe, all the Hawkwind reissues. He's done a boatload of shit too.
Yeah, this has new mixes of live concerts from the Marquee Club in 74, Hammersmith Odeon in 76, Hammersmith Odeon in 77, Camel's complete BBC radio and television appearances, plus the 84 concert video pressure points presented on Blu-ray disc for the first time. Also contains a 68-page book. I'm just going to real quick give you a flavor of this book. I mean, it is, this is real coffee table stuff here, man.
Yeah.
This is not done.
The Marquee Club 74 gig is coming out in January as a 2 CD set on Cherry Red.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. And it's killer.
This album is going to be an interesting one when we get to it next time around.
I was just looking up Stephen W. Taylor. He's also done some Vandergraaf generator stuff as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
he probably did that Vandergraaf set I have that I still haven't gotten through.
Probably. Yeah, I was just looking up. I mean, that box set came out in 2023, right? So those would be the remix versions that they have on streaming and stuff.
I have chatted with him online too, and he's also an exceptionally cool, knowledgeable guy, kind of like in like Jeffson Mines age group, who's been around forever.
Yeah. So now here's a couple albums that are coming up soon here. This one here.
Yeah.
And this one up here. And then we got this one. Well, there's Breathless right there. So I'm just showing you this right now because I have it open. Then we'll get back to the.
Okay, let's get back to work.
Yep, we're almost there. Hold on.
Stephen W. Taylor also engineered and mixed Before the Dawn, the live album by Kate Bush, the last one.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. There's.
I believe he worked with the Alan Parsons Project in the 70s.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, there's the next one. We're going to talk about Rain Dances. So let's jump into that one next.
Okay.
And we don't actually have all. You don't own these, right, Eric?
No, I don't own any more.
So Louis and I only have them in this context.
Yeah, we'll work our way around it. I got all of them bookmarked on my book, so I can pull them out. Okay.
All right. So Rain Dances we just showed, but if you want to show it again, go ahead while I read off the.
Okay, Rain Dances.
And while you're showing it, I'll read off the stuff here. Rain Dances came out in September 1977, recorded February through August of 77 at Basing Street Studios, London. And we've got Gamma and Decca again, Rhett Davies and Camel again. It's the 5th studio album. It was released This is the first major change to the band's lineup. They replaced bassist Doug Ferguson with ex-Caravan member Richard Sinclair, and also added saxophonist and woodwind specialist Mel Collins, formerly of King Crimson. There's also a guest spot by Brian Eno on one of the later songs. I forget which one. Uneven song? Huh? Elkie. That's
Elkie.
it. Okay, yeah. Which is a super cool track. Let's see. Anything more to add? I don't think there's anything more to add there. Let's jump into this one here. Anybody got any pressing thoughts they want to throw out first before I go track by track?
Absolutely. This is kind of like an interesting mix. They brought Richard Sinclair, who used to be in Caravan at that point in time, and a lot of the fan base because of Richard Sinclair's connection with Caravan, used to talk to this about like the Caramel lineup.
Caramel, yeah, that's true. That's pretty good, actually. I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
And Richard Sinclair is tied to one of my 10 greatest regrets in the stuff I ever did in music. Sometime in the 1990s, Richard Sinclair was touring the States, driving himself around, playing acoustic gigs, and they called a friend of mine who had a record store like 4 miles away from me and offered us the opportunity to have Richard Sinclair come and do a solo gig for $250. And we thought it was too much money.
Oh, oh wow. So you didn't do it?
No, we didn't do it. And to this day, I still kick myself for not having done it. All we needed to do was give him $250 and a place to stay, and he would do a solo gig for us.
Wow. What year was that? 90s, you said?
Mid-90s.
When he's still alive, right?
I'm not sure. Okay. I saw him at Near Fest with the Hatfield and the North reunion. Great guy.
I think he is. I'm pretty sure he is.
Yeah. Apparently he is, yeah.
Because actually, Barden's is gone, and there's one other guy that's gone from the Camel cavalcade of people, because they started changing a lot of people coming up here. Can't remember who the other person was. Was it Kit Watkins? No, Kit Watkins is still alive, I believe.
I don't think there's anybody else that's gone besides.
I think there's one more person. I can't remember who it is. Anyway, well, I can look into that later.
Okay.
It was not like a major person.
Yeah.
It was maybe it was that David Sinclair, the other.
No, David Sinclair, from what I know, is alive and living in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll look into it. I forget, because I know there was one other person, but yeah. Any thoughts on the album as a whole, or do we do that? You want to tie it up at the end after I run through it?
Run through it first.
All right. Okay. Yeah. First Light instrumental, super cool, spacey, almost Hawkwindish, kind of mixed with a little bit of Tangerine Dream. Now we've got some sequencer stuff going on in the keyboards, like the bubbling sort of like sequenced keys. There are some Caravan vibes though here, and I will admit that Caravan is one of those bands that I have a ton of. Ken Brown, remember Ken Brown? He burned their whole catalog for me. And I remember Land of Pink and Gray and maybe one other one. But I never, for some reason at the time, I wasn't a big what do they call it? The Canterbury scene thing.
Canterbury.
Yeah, it wasn't
Canterbury. And Camel, in a way, has a certain connection sound-wise with the Canterbury scene, although they're a little bit removed, but Caravan was a little bit kind of like more folky than what Camel was.
But here's the thing. If I'm not wrong about this, and I think I'm right, there was a massive box set of Caravan shit done.
Yes, there is. There is a box set of this size
I think it's long sold out, though. I fear. I'm pretty sure it is.
I fear so. I
Yeah.
did not pick it up because I had like everything caramel, air, caravan, I had enough caramel to choke myself.
He's not even sure what to call this band anymore. Is it
Yeah.
Caravan or Caramel?
Yeah.
Wait, it wasn't Caramel a band? Wasn't that like
No.
I can't remember what it's called,
Yeah.
but real quick, as a quick aside, because I got to bring this up. On Saturday night, I got home after searching for cars all day, and I hit a bar literally right down the street. I've lived here 3.5, almost 4 years, and there's a microbrewery down here. I knew it was there, and I was like, I got to stop in there. So I popped in to get one beer. I only had two, but I got a burger, but I caught a pretty good buzz because I hadn't eaten all day.
Mhm.
So off 2 beers, I got a pretty nice buzz. I decided to come home and spin all kind of fucking psychedelic shit. Erik was there, and I played a bunch of weird stuff. Erik has the whole playlist. He's my curator of my streams a lot of the time. And anyways, but the one song that I pulled up that really wasn't related to this in any sort of way, but I don't know why I pulled it up, was the Brothers Johnson, Strawberry Letter 23. You know that song, Louis?
Vaguely.
It's the one that goes da, 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 da. And it's super fucking funky and super fucking proggy, and it's got that breakdown section where the guitar is like a man. I wanted to listen to that song like over and over and over, but it got kicked me. That and the Rolling Stones, the Citadel, and one other tune. Who was the other band I played right in around the Stones? There was one other kind of big name band, and I should not have played them till the very end. Moody Blues, Legend of a Mind, Timothy Leary. And boom, from that point on, I'd been streaming no problem, pulling all kind of weird shit out. I played those 3 songs, and bam, I was off the air by, very quickly after that. But,
busted.
Yeah. All right. So first light. All right. Metronome with a G.
Gnome, yeah.
Yeah. First lead vocals of Richard Sinclair. He has a very mellow, calming British voice. I love his voice. It's so British and so calm and gentle and breezy.
Yeah. Interestingly, like he has a voice too that, like, on paper it doesn't seem like it would be distinctive, really, because it doesn't have. But at the same time, like, anytime you hear him, you can tell that it's him somehow. Even though he's not, like, he doesn't have a really, like, weird voice. He's not an Ian Anderson or John Anderson or Peter Hamill or whoever.
Or Greg Lake or something. Yeah, he's almost nondescript. He almost has a nondescript sort of vocal.
Yeah. He did a couple of records called Richard Sinclair Caravan of Dreams, which are amazing. And
did he sing in Caravan?
Yeah, he did some singing in Caravan.
Okay.
But to me, he has a unique voice, and to me, he was the best singer that Camel ever had.
Well, yeah, he might have been. I'm not going to argue that, because none of those guys were like top shelf. Yeah. But he kind of has a bucolic voice.
Yeah,
it's got that rustic sort of like old vibe to it, right? And
like an old English countryside vibe,
right? Like you go into some pub somewhere and he'd be sitting there on the guitar like a John Martin or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But I will say, like, okay, so the first song, First Light, still sounds a lot like Camel. Metronome is the first time that you're going, oh, wait a minute, this is kind of poppy. It's got kind of a pop vibe to it. Like, what's going on here, right? Mm-hmm. It's boppy. The guitar and the sax and synth interplay is very playful and complex. I love the prog boogie section at 8:10 there.
Latimer's solo on this is killer, too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it says Latimer plays some stellar lead over the sequence riffs, the sequenced. I'm not drinking. I can't talk. Sequenced synth section. Well, try saying that 3 times. Sequence synth section. Try saying that 3 times in a row. All right.
Try saying it backwards.
That's way out of my league, bro. Especially with a hangover. Yeah, the Latimer playing it, it's fucking juicy, dude. That is,
Yeah,
I gotta be honest with you, man. This track is amazing. It's an
yeah.
amazing song, and it's like, okay, but they're definitely sounding a little more, kind of a little more poppy, a little more AOR-y a little bit here. Okay, well, let's see.
Uh,
Well, hang on. So then we got,
this is one of as a whole, Rain Dances is a record where they're kind of beginning to lose the plot, in my opinion.
well,
They need to
you're not gonna like.
streamline a little bit more for sure.
They're streamlining. So, all right. So
Yeah.
tell me, Sinclair again, moody intro with fretless bass. Sounds like fretless. Very mellow ballad that has a sad vibe initially, but it has a lush, gorgeous, mostly instrumental like build up, right? And then you get that sad Sinclair delivery. I gotta tell you, man, I really love this song. Tell me, I think it's beautiful. I was stunned.
Tell
Yeah.
me, it's probably one of the most Caravan-like things that they did. If you look at the Caravan catalog.
Well, and then we get to Highways of the Sun, which very much is like probably the least Caravan-like song that they've done, because it's definitely they're looking for a hit song on radio.
Yeah.
But it's radio friendly. But man, I love it. I'll tell you why. You know why I love it? Because it sounds like GTR, which I don't know if you know who that is, Eric. Do you know who GTR?
Yeah, Steve Howe and Steve
Howe,
Hackett.
Yep.
I've never heard it, but I know of it.
Good. Don't hear it. It's not recommended.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. I love that album. Don't listen to this old man. Don't listen to this guy. It's a good album. That is a good album.
Jeff shows that he's really older than me. If he likes GTR.
I do like that GTR album. I really do. And you know what I love? You know what? Fuck you. I love that First Asia album too, bitch. So there, eat on that one.
The
right?
First Asia album?
Yeah. Fucking love that album. Fucking A, man. Listen
of the moment.
Listen to this prog snob bastard over here, man. I'm about to mute his ass. All right. But I do hear some GTR in there, and I hear some Hall & Oates. I hear like the older Hall & Oates with the keyboards, man, like or something like 10cc, like I'm not in love. It's kind of got that vibe, those keys. I really like it's gentle and smooth.
Your questionable taste is coming out.
Louis, shut the fuck up or I'm gonna mute you, all right? Yeah. And I have that power to mute you. Watch this. Here we go. Ready? Watch this. Hey, wait, do I have you in the right? Wait, are you mirrored or not?
It's your problem.
Is that right or is that wrong?
It's mirrored now on my screen.
Wait, are you backwards, Louis, or not?
I don't know.
Well, look in the camera.
Backwards now for me.
Oh, it is backwards. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. All right. All right. Anyway, yeah. To mute Louis, I got to do.
All
I got to do is mute him there. See how it's got the mute button on up there? See. All right. He's calling me older than him. He can't be older than me. He's a fucking almost 11 years older than me. All right. Highways to the Sun. I like it. I really like that song. I don't know why. I should hate it, but I really love it. Uneven Song. That Fender Rhodes intro riff to me sounds very much like two songs. Misunderstanding by Genesis, that bow, bow, dun, 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 dun. It's like that kind of, that thing. And the other song, and this was the band. I could not figure out the band until I finally read it on Rate Your Music. I had it in my head. I'm like, oh, what's that fucking song from that UK pop prog sort of band? Supertramp. This is their Supertramp album, I think. There's a lot of, and the song I was thinking of was Dreamer. Dreamer. Oh no. Anyway, that Uneven Song has that vibe going on at first. Got a lot of sax. It's very poppy, but then it gets in that instrumental part that gets pretty complex, and it gets very new neo prog at that point. And when it breaks down, it gets kind of sultry and smoky sounding at the end. It's really gorgeous at the end. Really cool song. I like this song quite a bit.
Speaking of neo prog, I mean, you were talking about Marillion earlier too, and I was thinking about how I feel like a lot of the neo prog bands probably were quite inspired by Camel as well as, Genesis and stuff.
Had to have
But
been.
I can
Had
definitely
to have
hear a
been.
lot of Camel in a lot of those bands.
Had to have been. There's no question about it
Yeah.
at all. One of these days I'll get an early night. Okay, that's kind of a campy title, obviously. But it's sort of prog fusion meets pop and late night Weather Channel music. It sounds like late night Weather Channel music. If you turn on the TV and you're checking the weather for the week and you hear that bum, 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 ba-da-da, bum, 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 it's like that kind of vibe to it, right? And I did steal that from a guy named the Discover Tab, but he's 100% right on that. I love the sax, man. I got to be honest with you, man. Sax in this type of music always gets me. I'm like, I'm in, man. If there's
Well,
sax and flute, I'm always in.
it's also Mel Collins, who is a
Monster.
superb saxophone player. Okay.
And there's a lot of great riffs on this one. It's a great instrumental, man. I mean, I get it that people would be like, this is music. This is elevator music. It kind of is.
Yes.
It kind of is, but it's great.
Mel Collins is still alive, and if you force me to put a prog band today that needed a sax, I'd be calling Mel Collins.
Yeah, and I mean, and Mel Collins worked on No Man's stuff, right? He worked on
absolutely.
He worked on Flower Mouth, right?
Yeah,
and maybe a little later on Wild Opera, I think too.
That's one of the reasons that made me pick up Flower Mouth. All the contributors, and
that sax solo on fucking
Flower Mouth led me to a slippery slope that got me to meet you and cost me a fortune.
It's cost me a fortune too. Fuck. Just imagine.
One thing
hang on. Just imagine, Louis.
Yeah.
I owe this. I guess it's an honor. I don't know. Of knowing you, thanks to Mel Collins. Fuck that guy. No, I'm just kidding. What's that, Eric?
Oh, I was just gonna say, one of those days I'll get an early night. I wrote down Steely Dan for that one as well.
All right, we're gonna talk about.
There's a little bit of that there. Yeah,
we're gonna talk about Steely Dan a lot more on the next album. I guarantee you. Okay, because I'll just 2 words coming up for the next album: yacht rock. It's happening. Trust me.
Oh,
right?
I have issues with the next 2 after this, but we'll get into that.
I have issues too, but I like them both. Amazingly more than I thought I would. But all right. Elka, beautiful, moving song, really cinematic, very emotional, has a lot of emotional weightiness, very cinematically sort of beautiful. It's also got a little bit of that like hauntological vibe to it, when they call hauntology, that sort of thing that makes you go back into nostalgia. This would be a great soundtrack sort of vibe to ride out for that song.
Yeah, it's kind of almost like an ambient kind of new age thing.
Yeah, and that's Brian Eno's on there too. He's doing the piano.
This is actually my note on this is that it's a track that probably belonged on a Brian Eno record.
Could have very well been. Yeah. I think he helped write that one. I'm pretty sure. You'd have to look, but I think he did. Skyline's very jazzy, proggy, fusiony, very up tempo, jazzy, jammy. Another instrumental. The ARP or Moog solos by Bardens are all over the place and killer. Latimer then ignites with some always super tasty playing. It's a great song. Probably the most fusiony song on the album, fusion prog. And then Rain Dancers has this super cinematic. It's sort of a reshaping of the first song, First Light, and it's gorgeous, man. Less noodling, kind of an amazing ending to this album. So there's this band I was trying to think of was Supertramp, and I would say that maybe 30% of this album has a Supertramp vibe to it, which for Lewis, he's probably not digging that, but I like a lot of Supertramp. I don't mind that band. I mean, they did the album. Crime of the Century is fucking awesome.
Yeah, but overall, this is not as strong as the albums that preceded.
Oh, okay. That will be foretold in my numbering here. I still give this an 8.75 out of 10. I really enjoyed this album a lot, a lot. And I found that these ones that I didn't know as well, these last 4 that we're talking about versus the first 4, I enjoyed them far more than I ever expected to.
Yeah, well,
Far more. We even talked about that, Louis. We
yeah.
discussed it the other day.
This this one gets an 8.67 from my standpoint.
Wow, that's not quite as high as my 8.75. He's getting into micro decimals now. We're getting into microtonal bullshit here. All right. So, yes, it's jazzier. Yes, it's a little bit poppier. Yes, it's less wanky. The solos don't go on as long. There's, for the most part, but there's still a lot of high quality musicianship here. It has some crazy high points, and I appreciate this album more than I liked it a lot more than I expected to. A lot more.
It has to be viewed in a lot of ways as a transitional record.
Oh, for sure.
And it brings me back to my favorite. It brings me back to a live record because the Richard Sinclair Mel Collins lineup sounded way better on a live record than what they did on this album.
Probably because they're both virtuosos. So, I mean, I could say Sinclair's a hell of a bass player, man. He's got a lot of really killer runs all over this thing, and the bass is in the mix. It's very up. You can hear it a lot in a lot of these songs. And I really, really enjoyed his vocals. I think is he the best singer they had? Yeah, I guess, but that's not saying a lot because none of these guys. I kind of really like Doug Ferguson a lot for some reason, but because he had a gentle, wistful sort of vibe. But Andy and Pete weren't the greatest singers overall.
Yeah.
But they did tended, except for one egregious error, which is coming up on an album. I'll talk about that song in particular and a vocalist. They tended to pick the songs that fit their range and dynamics the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it was kind of a neat thing to listen to. It's a neat thing to listen to a Camel album because you're not getting the same guy the whole way through.
Yeah.
Which I like that a lot of the time. So, Erik, any thoughts on Rain Dances?
Yeah, I mean, I
talk for a minute because I'm going to get a drink. I'll be right back.
For a long time, I only knew the first 4 albums. So, and especially after Moon Madness, I mean, this was kind of a disappointment when I first heard it because I was, it's not as good as the first 4. But
I agree with you completely.
I think it does have a lot of good stuff on it. It's just different. And it's kind of been one of those ones where I like it more every time I hear it. So it's kind of slowly growing on me. I think it's less consistent than the first 4 albums. I mean, the first 4 albums, there is no song that I don't like. Or there's nothing less than great on any of those albums.
Yeah.
Whereas there's a few songs on this one where I'm kind of lukewarm on them. But overall, yeah, it's kind of rising a bit for me every time I hear it. And I think it's more than the sum of its parts, sort of. The album, if you listen to it as a whole, it flows well, it makes sense, rather than, some of the songs I don't like, but I like the album as a whole overall.
Yeah,
so it's probably about an 8 out of 10 for me.
I agree with you. I don't think it's as consistent as the other ones.
Agreed.
I wrote in my summary notes here that somehow it seemed like they were running out of ideas at a certain point in this record, and the whole Doug Ferguson is out, Richard Sinclair and Mel Collins as in transition might have affected this record. Could this record have been a better record if they had recorded it 9 months down the road than when they did? That's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, I think all fair points. I think the ideas thing is too. You got to remember, this is 1978. We're fast coming up on 80. Technology is changing pretty rapidly. You're getting into a more digital, not digital, but you're getting into the synthesizer technology is rapidly changing.
Yeah.
Guitar pedal technology is
sometimes not for the best.
No, I agree. I think also too the record label was hammering them for hits.
Absolutely.
Like, we gotta have a saleable hit, guys.
And that becomes more an issue as we go on down the road.
Yeah, and I mean, when you start having the dreaded if we don't have a hit, guys, we're probably gonna have to drop you. The band starts going, oh fuck, now we got, because back in these days, these guys, this was their job. They weren't mostly, it's not like now in metal and shit like that where most metal bands have, like, you know, the guys working, you know, fucking pizza places so that they can get off to travel the world when they go out on tour. They don't, most these guys back then were professional musicians.
Yeah. So
their paycheck was the advances and the tour advances and then the touring money, and it's a wonder a lot of these bands ever really made it with the way record companies fuck.
Yeah, well, most of these people always wound up owing the record company money at some point in their lives.
Yeah, exactly. So I like this album, I really do. But moving on, Breathless.
Just
Breathless?
real quick.
Oh yeah, sorry,
real quick. Man. With the whole thing about record labels pressuring bands to write hits, I think I don't think that's ever really a good situation. I mean, if you take a band that has a penchant for writing commercial music or wants to write commercial music versus someone like Camel, who is coming off probably, like you said, their proggiest album at the time, and they're being forced to write commercial songs.
Exactly.
And I mean, you can kind of tell sometimes when someone is writing a commercial song and they don't want to, they're not feeling it. It's not coming from a genuine place necessarily.
And they're not good at it.
It suffers.
Right. They're not good at it. Yeah. Although I would argue some of their attempts at pop here are better than I would have expected.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Like for example, let's look at Yes. Yes was starting to be pressured to write something a little bit more. So what did they do? They went a couple different directions. First they went to Going for the One, which was kind of still pretty proggy with a little bit of a radio angle. Then they went with Tormato, which was kind of the end. It was Torpedo, it really should have been, because it kind of, Don't Kill the Whale. I mean, that kind of stuff. I don't hate that album, but I don't like it very much either. Then they break up and they form into many factions. They come back with Drama, which is, I think, one of the coolest albums ever. I love that album. It's my third favorite Yes album, but it's essentially, it's marrying the three guys of Yes with the two guys of the Buggles who did video, and the record company was really hoping for like some kind of a marriage of pop and prog there that was going to yield an Asia album, probably, right? I mean, that's what they were hoping.
Yeah.
Don't say a fucking word about Asia. Don't say a fucking word about Asia, man. All right? Don't you dare.
I bought the first record.
What's that?
I bought the first record.
Yeah, and that was it, huh? That was it?
It's not here anymore.
So when the heart rules the mind is not, anyways. All right. But then the band splits again into more factions, and we have the Rabin 90125, where they do score the massive hit. I don't hate that album either. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. You got to remember, I was a junior in high school when that came out, so
you still got your copy of 90125, the solos?
I don't even know that I own 90125. I probably don't even own that album now that I think of it. I had it at one point, but I don't think I have it anymore. But you see what I'm saying? Like, each iteration of that band, there was pressure to perform at radio and make money, because what happened, and this speaks to what Eric's saying, is that back in the 70s, bands were signed more on the artistic value because radio programming wasn't yet corporate. So every DJ in the big town could go, I want to play Working Man that's 8 minutes or 10 minutes on. I want to play Close to the Edge, the whole 17 or 18-minute suite or whatever it is. I can't remember. But, there was not that pressure of corporate radio to make profits.
Yeah.
And so it was more about the artistry and more about, it really was more, and it was more about, look, let's be honest, man. It was about the drugs, and it was about the groupies, and it was about the boozing, it was about the partying, it was about the lifestyle. But they would give these bands a lot more leeway. And now we're getting the late 70s, and now it's becoming more corporate, fewer labels. They're being gobbled up by big labels. They're owning these subsidiary labels, and they're going, hey, you only sold 60,000 units that album. We need to get like 3 times. Like, I don't know if you know this, but Porcupine Trees in absentia only sold about a 250,000 albums, and they were expecting them to sell over 1 million. And when it didn't, the writing was already on the wall. If you watch,
I know.
You read Steven's book, man. He goes into it in pretty good detail. So, all right. So next up, we got Breathless, the 6th album. Louis, you want to show the picture of that one?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That came out September 22nd, 1978. Recorded at the Manor, Chipping Norton Recording Studios, Threshold in England, and Gamma Records, Decca Records, Arista Records.
Arista in the U.S.
Right.
They were off Janus at that time.
And Camel and Mick Glossop is the producer, the co-producers. And here we go. We've got, it's the last album to feature the group's original keyboardist, Pete Bardens, who left the group before the tour for the album. The album focuses on shorter, radio-friendly pop songs while retaining their progressive rock sound. So Louis don't like this one so much. Let me look at what I gave it real quick. I still give this a pretty good marks. I'll tell you why. We'll get into why in a minute.
Yeah.
Breathless, really beautiful opening track, man. Ballad, definitely more of an ARR sound, an adult contemporary, album-oriented sort of sound, with a seemingly stronger desire for possible airplay. It's lighter weight. Some might call it cheese. I kind of call it pretty damn good. I think that's a great song, Breathless.
I called it their attempt at a power ballad.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a power ballad. There's no doubt. And then we got Echoes, which is, which is kind of weird. They went with a song title that Floyd just did not that long ago. Mm-hmm. That said, it's far more up-tempo and rocking. Lots of killer melodies, great ensemble and solo performances. It's a really great instrumental.
Yeah, it's a great instrumental. That's one of the tracks that kind of became a live staple going forward.
And then we've got Wing and a Prayer, intro, sort of cheesy lyrics, kind of, I could hear this like on a John Hughes film as a background track to a John Hughes film. It's not terrible. The Latimer solo is really good on this one.
Yeah.
Lots of bubbling synths, great melodies. I don't hate the song. It's probably one of my...
I thought it was a little bit cheesy and more on a looking for a single kind of vibe. There.
Yeah, it was. There's no doubt about that. And then we get to the really trippy one, which, all right, right away I look at the song title. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Down on the Farm. Like, is this like, what is this, Bob Dylan or what? Or Neil Young or what the fuck is this shit, right? And it's kind of goofy, but in an adorable sort of way, man. The vocal really makes things happen. It's almost Steely Dan-ish. And then you get to, but very British Steely Dan. And then you get to the refrain, which is, better get on your boots and join us down at the farm. Better get on your boots and join us. And Louis probably hates that, but I
think more than Steely Dan-ish, this is where the Richard Sinclair Caravan influence comes out.
Yep, that's the Caravan song for sure. Yep, no doubt about it. Yep. And I like it. I really like that track.
That song I like the parts of it individually, but they don't fit together to me.
You're kind of right. It starts out like it's going to be more of a progressive rock song, and then it gets into more of a country English caravan-y sort of goofy song. But you can't deny that part, the better put on your boots and join us down at the farm. It's so catchy after you're listening to it a couple times, Starlight Ride is a very pretty Latimer track. It's primarily a vehicle for the wind instruments and the classical guitar, the electric guitar, clean guitar over the classical guitar, and then Barden on keys and Rhodes. I really like that song. Summer Lightning, very AOR prog. Uh,
Starlight Ride got my star as one of the better tracks on this record.
Good
Yeah,
song,
yeah.
great song. Yeah, Summer Lightning, very AOR proggy track that has a good bit of jazzy snake-like bass lines running throughout it. It's a lot more lightweight, and it's very great. It's real yacht rock. This is the
It's
yacht
got like
rock.
a little bit of a disco undercurrent.
Got a definite
Very
disco
cool.
vibe. Yes, and actually, and I brought up I said to it, I said it does bounce along like a disco track to a point, but I kind of dig this one a lot. It's
Yeah.
not a horrible song for me. But then you get to You Make Me Smile, which I said I brought up the word disco too soon, as this is the disco song.
Well, after Summer Lighting, I wrote, well, for You Make Me Smile, more of the same.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this song. It's the
Yeah.
first Camel song that I listened to that I'm kind of like, I'm not really into this song. But then we get to my favorite song on the album, The Sleeper, man. This song rules. It's so good.
It's kind of a return to the classic sound.
It's the atmospheric, language, spacey intro. You get a lot of Fender Rhodes in there. It's got a late night car driving vibe. It's got that driving vibe to it. But it's a little more upbeat. And I do hear some Marillion, where Marillion might have stolen some stuff out of this song. Bouncy, proggy rocker, mainly synths and keys on that one. And then it ends with Rainbow's End, which is a really pretty ballad. And those higher backing vocals that Andy sings the lead, but then there's those higher backing vocals. They just take the song to another place. I love the ending of that. So yeah, this is Camel's yacht rock album. I love yacht rock, so I don't have a problem with it. I love Steely Dan, so I don't have a problem with it. It makes me think a lot of the late 70s because I was there.
Neither me nor Donald Fagen would consider Steely Dan yacht rock.
Well, they wouldn't, but I mean, let's not even get into Steely Dan. I've done them before, and they're one of my favorite bands. I love that band.
I love them. I had intense connections with Steely Dan. One of my best friends was Walter Becker's guitar tech for 10 years.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's right. I remember you telling me that. That's right. Yeah, I mean, just probably the most pros. Yeah. They're the best musicians that have ever written songs, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm going to say it's this. When I was kind of discovering prog rock, this would not have been out of my wheelhouse for enjoying, even though I was getting into Rush at this time. But I really kind of like the jazzier vibes on this. And yeah, it's AOR yacht rock. I'm giving it an 8.25. I really like this album. Eric, what's your take on this one?
It's not an 8.25.
Okay, all right.
Right now.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
I don't know, man. This one has, like the last album, it's kind of inconsistent for me. I really did not like this album the first time I heard it. I mean, after hearing the first four, I thought Rain Dances was a step down, and I thought this was a big step down even from Rain Dances.
Really? Wow.
Okay. I will say, like, same thing as I said with Rain Dances. Every time I hear it, I like it a little bit better.
Right.
I was not ready for Camel to do stuff like, the verse in Down on the Farm. I was just like, what is this?
I know, I get you. I hear you.
Even though I'd already liked Caravan at the point when I heard this, I just did not. I don't know. I did not.
Were you going like kind of what weird Bob Dylan song they're covering?
You couldn't reconcile the weirdness, apparently, right?
Yeah, or it's not what I wanted to hear when I put on a Camel album, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's one of those ones where the more I
it grows on you.
Go, and the more I know what I'm in for on like subsequent listens after the first one, so I know more what to expect.
Right.
And I find that that's a little bit easier if you take something for what it is instead of what you're expecting it to be.
Yeah, you temper your expectations to the reality is what it is.
Yeah. So it's still an inconsistent album. I will say, like, I missed you guys talking about Echoes. I think that's probably my favorite song on the album.
Probably my second.
That's pretty great.
Yep.
My favorite song on the album. Yeah.
Yeah, Starlight Ride is really good. Summer Lightning and The Sleeper. Those are the standout tracks for me. Most of the rest, Breathless is okay too, the title track. Some of the other ones I could kind of take or leave them.
Yeah.
Overall it's not a bad album, but it's not
A
gonna
big
be one of
step
my
down.
favorites. I'd give it probably a 6.5 out of 10 at this point, but I mean it might still grow on me. So
I'm going to be a little bit kinder than Eric and give it like a 7.25. And this album holds to one of my long term health theories in music, which is that everybody make their worst records when they were on Arista.
When they were what?
On Arista Records.
Oh, on Arista. I thought you said when they all got married. I thought, oh, maybe they all got married around the same time, made their worst album. That could probably be true too. Who knows? No offense, ladies. But yeah, okay. So let's move on from there. But I do enjoy this album way more than I thought I would. I can see your house
This
from here.
this one went down in my rankings with recent listenings.
Well, I'm probably going to be higher than both you guys on this, but not a lot. This is of all the ones we are doing tonight, this is my least favorite by far. Yeah. So, Louis, you want to show the artwork for this? Because the artwork is terrible, man. But there is a little bit of a story behind it that I'll go into quickly.
Shit, I lost the artwork. Let me find it again.
That's cool. October of 79, this comes out, recorded at Farmyard Studios, Little Chalfont, England. Gamma Decca are the labels, and a name that you should recognize quite well if you're a Rush fan. Rupert Hine did the production on this. So there we go. So it's
he also produced other hack acts like the Thompson Twins. So
well, he did Rush.
Give him all that credit in the world.
He did Rush. He did let's see. Was it? I think he did Presto and
Roll the Bones.
Might have been Roll the Bones.
Yeah, it's Roll the Bones. I looked him up.
Okay, yeah. Which I do like Presto more and more and more these days. Roll the Bones, I like half of it. I have it. It's one of my favorite songs. Bravado's on there, but the rest of the album, I struggle with a lot of songs on there. Ghost of a Chance is good.
He produced the Thompson Twins and everybody they gave him money to produce.
Now there you go. Yeah, but he does have solo songs. Do you know that?
There is a solo career that I don't know where exactly it went.
Well, I got news for you. There's a song he does on the Steven Wilson. What's that thing called? The progressive years of the post-punk era. What's that thing called? Do you remember?
Intrigue.
Intrigue. That's it. Yeah. There's a Rupert Hines song on there. Look that up, Eric. What's that Rupert Hines song? The Visitor or the Lurker or the something like that? The Visitor? Anyway, that song is fucking amazing. Yeah. It is such a cool track. Very 80s sounding, but I think it's on the third disc or the fourth disc, the first song. All right, so real quick, I just wanted to get into a couple quick things on here.
The Outsider.
The Outsider, that's it. Yeah, that song is cool as shit. Work was started on the album in summer of 79, collaborating with Rupert Hine, Farmyard. The process also took place in Elizabethan Country House, a residential recording studio that suited the band well. The orchestral overdubs were added at London's Air, who also worked with Mel Collins, who also worked with Caravan, contributed to the band's sound on the saxophone, while Phil Collins, yes, that Phil Collins, played percussion on one track, I believe. Andy Latimer was, what's that?
The last track of the record.
Right. Yes, you're right. Andy Latimer was pleased with the end product, saying Hine was great fun to work with. He was really up and zippy. I enjoyed making that record. We did it rather quickly, and it wasn't a lengthy production. The album was released in October 79, spent 3 weeks in the chart in late October and early November, reaching number 45. An accompanying single was planned but shelved. Instead, a maxi single containing an edited version of Andy Latimer and Kit Watkins' Remote Romance, which we're going to talk about that in a minute, was backed with Rainbow's End from Breathless and a Camel Mick Glossop production of Tell Me, first released on Rain Dances. It did not reach the charts. Single Your Love Is Stronger Than Mine and backed with Neon Magic followed in February of 80. The cover art, the cover image is based on a joke that was somewhat popular at the time, in which Jesus, while hanging up on a cross dying, calls out for his disciple Peter to come to him, who does so with great difficulty. The punchline is that Jesus merely wants to tell Peter, I can see your house from up here. So there you go. But it was it also pays homage to the 1951 painting Christ of St. John of the Cross by Salvador Dali. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Wait, very poppy, yet still pretty progressive. But they don't sound much like the class.
Before you go into the album, there are a couple of important personal changes to talk about here.
Right. Well, I mentioned Barden's left.
Barden's left, and
both, they added
both Jan Shellhas and Kid Watkins get added on keyboards, and not only Barden's left, but also Richard Sinclair left,
and they got Colin
Bass, who had played with Steve Hillage, comes in, and Colin Bass actually kind of becomes a recurrent theme in the Camel history going forward.
He's still in the band, I believe, right?
Absolutely. That's
And he's got a great voice. I do like his voice quite a
bit. To me, after Richard Sinclair, he's the second best singer Camel ever had.
Yep. And I missed that. I don't know how I looked over that shit. I just went the album was going to be called Endangered Species, by the way. I missed the very first paragraph there like an idiot. So yes, 2 keyboard players, not one now, to replace one, and a new bass player, singer. And then we move on. Wait, I said, Your Love is Stronger Than Mine. Again, very poppy, upbeat, sort of radio friendly, but I got to be honest with you, man. I think that song is great pop. I think it's a great pop song. It's a and Colin Bass's vocals on it are really stand out.
It's a great pop song. It's not what I would expect from Camel.
Admittedly, this to me is the most un-Camel-like album of all the ones we're talking.
I agree completely.
I Had the Storm, mostly gentle, instrumental that has some nice kind of tribal rhythms sort of in it, and cool flute-like synths. Maybe it was flute. I'm not even sure. It's a nice track. I kind of like it.
You missed a song, but you missed a song also.
Oh,
but I just wanted to say, Wait. Yeah, it does not sound like Camel. It's more like a art rock or like prog pop kind of song.
Yeah,
it kind of reminds me of, you guys know the band Crack the Sky?
Yeah.
It reminds me of some of their early stuff.
Very much like them. Yep. What track did I miss?
Your Love is Stranger Than Mine?
No, I did say that.
Yeah.
Oh, I said Stronger. I meant Stranger. Yeah, I did. Your Love is Stronger.
You were talking about it as a single, but you didn't talk about it in sequence.
No, I said Your Love is Stronger Than Mine. That was the second song, but I meant Stranger. I wrote it wrong. I was talking about it.
I think you went straight from Wait to Eye of the Storm.
No, I didn't.
He didn't.
No, I didn't. I did talk about Your Love because I said Colin Bass's voice on it is fantastic, and I love that track.
Okay.
Yeah, I really love that song. It's a great pop song, but I love it. Listen, Eric, goddammit, it, how fucking drunk are you now, man? I'm sober, bro. Come on. All right. Eye of the Storm, good track. Who We Are. Okay,
I've only had 2, but I might be going up to get the third one.
Well, you better go get it because we still have one more album to talk about yet. So go ahead. Who We Are, a nice AOR radio rock song with some great melodic guitar work by Andy. Upbeat, bouncy. It's again, Andy's voice is sort of fluid on here, very sweet sounding, but it's kind of a cheesy ballad when you really get down to it. It's kind of I don't know if it's a love letter to his girl, like his partner that he's been with, Susan
Hooper.
Yeah, I think it must be a love song to her. But what I didn't realize about it was I was getting into it and I was digging it, even though it was kind of cheesy. And I was kind of like, what I wrote here was, I want to hate this song, but alas, it's kind of hard to do because it's a pretty ballad for me, and the orchestrations are really cool. What I didn't realize was it's fucking nearly 8 minutes long. That's where it should have stopped at about 4 3/4 or 5.
Rupert Hine needed to have done some editing there.
Yeah, that should have been an edit job there. Then we got a little interlude with Survival that's really gorgeous symphonic.
Yeah, I love that interlude.
Yeah. Him to Her is
I thought was great.
Him to Her is sort of a weird song because it starts out sounding very much like old Camel, like really old Camel.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get into a little bit of a neo-prog pop vibe. And then underneath it, you got this reggae thing going on with the guitar. And it's like, well, where did that come from? Like he's, instead of like playing a chordal strum or a stab, he's sort of articulating all the notes in it like a reggae player would, like dum, chick, dum. And you're like, whoa, where the fuck did that come from? That's just bizarre.
Yeah, some really great guitar leads on that one.
Some great guitar leads, yeah. This is actually the one that Phil Collins plays on, dude. Yeah, that's the one he plays on. And I jokingly said, did
no Mel Collins plays on this one. Phil Collins doesn't play on this one.
You sure?
I'm sure. It's in my notes.
Well, your notes could be wrong. I mean, come on now.
I looked at the credits on the box set.
All right, Eric, do me a favor. We need a fact check in aisle 3 here. I want to know which song Phil Collins played on. All right.
Okay.
On this album. All right. So, Neon Magic. This is the one that really bothers me because this is Andy Latimer.
Phil Collins is not on that song.
Him to Her. All right, he's on the last song then. All right. Which what?
Thank you, Eric.
Ice? The song Ice? He's on Ice?
Yeah, he's on Ice. Yeah.
Yeah, I swear I read that on Wikipedia.
I'm looking at Wikipedia and it also doesn't say he's on Ice. It doesn't really.
The box set says he's on Ice. I looked at the.
All right, there you go. All right, well,
we'll trust that then. Yeah.
All right, so Neon Magic, man, I don't know. That's a very lame song, and this was one of the singles that they tried to.
Neon Magic sucks, and the only thing that makes Neon Magic redeeming is that the next track is even worse.
Yeah, it is a lot worse. Yeah. Yeah, but here's the thing. I didn't really realize, I couldn't tell who was singing. Then I dug into it deeper, and Neon Magic is Andy Latimer, and he just doesn't sound right. It does not sound like he's
the whole thing doesn't sound right.
Yeah, the whole thing's not good. So
I don't remember anything about that song. As soon as it's over, it just kind of
goes away. Yeah.
I am all with you, Eric. Forget all about that song. It sucks.
But here's the weird thing on Remote Romance. You almost can't forget it because it does kind of get stuck in your head. You know what it reminds me of? And it was a little pre this album, I believe, because I believe the album I'm going to equate it to, it's kind of like the Under Wraps album by Jethro Tull, where everything got electronic. And I hate that album with the exception of the Under Wraps song. That's the only song I like on the album. But it kind of reminds me.
Also hates that album.
Who does?
Ian.
Yeah, but you know what? They're doing a box set of it, believe it or not. Ian talked about it in an interview I just saw recently. I'm like, why? I'm not gonna.
Of those box sets?
Yeah.
That'll be the second one that I don't pick up then.
I own all the other ones, so that'll be the first one I quit on. Which other one did you skip?
Passion Play.
Oh, that's right. You don't like Passion Play. I like that.
Every 5 years, I retry Passion Play on CD, listen to it again, and it still stinks.
I like that album. I don't know. You and I like that one, I think, Eric. Didn't we like that one? It was kind of weird, but we kind of dug it.
I like it. I don't know if I love it, but I like it.
No, I don't love it. I don't. I think that was probably one of our lowest ranking ones. But I mean, it's kind of their jazz album. It's their jazz weird
sessions that led to it, the Chateau Disaster sessions. I love those.
They're good.
Yeah. Those are great.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we get to Remote Romance. I just want to say synth pop dance. You know what it reminds me where he does the Remote Romance. You know what it reminded me of? Tomo arigato, Mr. Roboto, Tomo. It's like when every band was doing that synth thing with the synthetic sort of dance thing. It was like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah, it's a terrible, terrible song. I mean, I love electronic. You do too. But I like, this ain't Gary Newman right here. Okay, let's just put it that way. It's not even close. It's not even as good as let's be honest, it's not even as good as Under Wraps, and that song kind of sucks.
Mhm.
So, and then we get to the fucking man, dude. This, I think, Ice is the best song they did since Lunar Sea as far as an instrumental.
Oh, Ice, once again, Ice is one of those things that became a classic on the live repertoire going on for good reasons. And it's the best song on this album by far.
Might be the best song on these next 4 albums that we've talked about easily. I think it's
Well,
probably,
we'll get to that. Yeah.
But there is the guitar work on here is stunning, man.
Beautiful.
And it's
beautiful.
And it's not flowery or tapping or super blazing fast. It's just
it's soulful, classy, melodic. It's
Latimer has a way with melodicism that very few guys do, and they're again, you bring up Dickie Betts. That's a great comparison. Dickie always played.
Latimer to me has always had a beautiful tone, and this is one of the places where that comes out too.
And this song alone is almost like makes worth owning the album worthwhile because it's such a killer song. I don't hate the album. In fact, I like a bit more than probably both of you guys. We'll find out in a second here. But in comparison to everything that's come before it, it's not even a fair fight. There's many things that you can like about this one. Artwork is not one of them, by the way. But it's only rating a 7 out of 10 for me. So I gave it a 7 because I felt like the high points were very high points. The low points, pretty fucking low. So, Eric, what do you got on this?
Yeah, it's kind of on par with Breathless to me. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I probably should have given Breathless a 7 out of 10 as well instead of a 6.5. I think actually there are more songs that I like on Breathless, but I think the ones that I do like on here, maybe I like a little bit more.
Understandable.
But yeah, there are like you said, the lows are lower than anything up to this point.
Yeah, they've never done a Remote Romance or a Neon Magic.
I'm with both of you. Remote Romance and Neon Magic are kind of unforgivable. And I leave these last 2 albums with the crazy concept that if you had picked the highlights of each one of these 2 records,
made
you would have gone and made one album.
Yeah,
you would have gone with an amazing killer record.
Would have been a solid album. Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
to make a playlist of that now.
I mean, you gotta
listening to it. You gotta also send me the playlist once you make it.
But you gotta also look at it this way too, guys. That back in the 70s, a lot of bands were putting out 2 albums a year. They were at least pumping one out every 9 to 12 months.
And this is an era where they were also beginning to feel heightened commercial pressures.
Exactly. Yep. And that definitely shows on these last 2 albums in particular. I think Rain Dances is still there's enough old Camel in there that I don't get too uptight with it, but these last 2, Breathless and this one, definitely there. Now,
Rain Dances was a weird record. Doug Ferguson was out. Sinclair was coming in. A lot of the demos of Rain Dances were done actually with Andy Latimer playing bass on the demo.
That's right. He was. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember he felt that Ferguson wouldn't be able to keep up with some of those bass lines he was writing. So, all right. So we're on to the last one. But before we do that real quick here, I just want to throw out there that we still have how many more albums to go? Is it 5?
Like 7.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was 7.
Well, it depends. Are we including the let's see.
I
think it was 14 in total.
Well, here's what we got.
We have 6.
Yeah, according to what I see 6. So we've got the Single Factor.
There's the remake of the Snow Goose.
Which I threw that in there.
Out. Yeah.
Oh, I did. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're gonna throw that in. So that would be the 7th one. That's right. Yeah. But we got Single Factor,
Stationary Traveler, Dust and Dreams, Harbor of Tears, Jazz, A Note and a Wink, and the remake of
2013. Yeah. So we'll we'll kind of reconnoiter, hopefully, and talk about that and figure out a date. Now, the one thing I do need to throw out is that on the 28th, and we won't be getting to it before then because I have some other stuff and some shows and traveling I got to do. But I'm going to be dropping my current. I'm on Restream. I'm going to be dropping the current plan that I have because they want almost $500 for it. I can't carry that. I don't get enough income from ad revenue, and people don't generally ever give me money like they do other people. So I just can't do it. So what I'm hoping
$500 for a year?
Yeah, $478 for 1 year.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's $39 a month. And I just can't do that. I'm buying a car this week or next. I'm already looking at like 10 different cars right now. I'm trying to get the best deal I can on that. So I'll have a bit of a car payment for about 6 or 8 months. So I just can't do it. What I'm hoping happens is they've done it the last 2 or 3 years. Every year, StreamYard throws an email at me. They did last year, and I had already re-upped for at the lesser price for Restream. Long story short, if StreamYard comes at me and we'll do a half price on their annual, and it's under $250, I'll probably do it because I can probably pay for it with the money that I'm bringing in from ad revenue, more or less. It may not cover it fully, but it's not a big deal if I put 50 in myself. But I love doing this stuff with you guys. I love doing this with hanging with my buddies. But if I got to go back to the free version and lose all the, the back screens and all the bells and whistles and shit like that, then so be it. Because I can't, I'm not a pro channel. I don't get the kind of money in that Nick does or Marty and Alan. I don't get those, they get a lot of people, not a lot, but they get a fair amount of people that tend to donate every month or whatever. And they also get more ad revenue because they're a bigger channel and they have more people cycling past. And that's one of the things that's a bit of a struggle is that, I keep wondering why I kind of just hover. It's taken me almost over a year and a half to get to another 1,000 subscribers. It's like, wow, man, I'm not even, it's taken me a year and a half to go from 1,000 to 1,650 or 40 or whatever it is. And it's like at that rate, I know I sound like I'm whining because I know you only have 100 or whatever, 150 or whatever. So,
Wow,
but
I haven't done anywhere near as much as you have.
Yeah,
so.
you don't do the kind of work and put the kind of work in that I do a lot. So it's kind of a little disappointing that I'm still kind of struggling to get to 2,000 or 2,500 or 5,000, But I'm not looking.
I think it's just partly, this format isn't appealing to. It's appealing to a small number of people.
I do these long streams. I don't do the bite section. I should cut things up, and maybe I'll start doing that. Maybe I'll cut all my future stuff up a little better. I don't know. I kind of like my vibe, my little angle, but it is less appealing to a lot of people. And the truth of the matter is that, I don't stick to one thing all the time. I don't just stick to brutal death metal like Melanie's death metal channel or like Alan and Marty tend to. They kind of stick to just the metal thing. You don't hear them talking about Steely Dan or Camel, but that's not me. I don't want to just talk about death metal all the time. I love a lot of death metal, but it's not what I want to do all the time. I love these kind of conversations because Camel's an important band. Yes is an important band. You know what I'm saying. So, so that's that. And I guess we'll sort of see where we're at. That I believe they do it on Black Friday. When is Black Friday this month? When is that coming up?
November 20th, I think.
20th? Okay. That's probably when they're going to hit me with it.
That's too early. It's the last Friday in November, so I think it's the 29th.
Oh, it's the last Friday after Thanksgiving?
Okay.
I thought it was before Thanksgiving. I always thought it was before Thanksgiving.
No, it's a Friday after Thanksgiving.
Okay, so it's the 28th then. All right. Which ironically is the day that my service here runs out on Restream. So I'm either going to be dropping down to the the bargain basement version, or I'll be jumping over to StreamYard, and then we'll figure out what we can do.
Yeah.
I'd like to do this in December if possible, but we'll sort of see where we're at with everybody's going, and we'll go from there. This wasn't that hard to prepare for. It was pretty easy, and I enjoyed it. So once I knuckled down and, shut out all the other things I was trying to get sorted out. And that leads me to one other quick thing for announcements. So on the 18th, next Tuesday, I'm doing the Church catalog, the Australian alternative psychedelic rock band, The Church. 26 albums and 6 EPs, kids. The good news is, it's either good or bad news, depending on how you look at it. The good news is I'm doing it solo, so it'll be fairly quick. It'll just be me. The bad news is it'll just be me talking for 5 or 6 hours. So maybe you'll hate life by the end of that thing. I don't know. So that's
or you'll hate the Church.
Or I'll hate the Church. Nah, I love the Church, man. You know the Church, right?
I know, absolutely.
All right, so if you don't have the Priest Equals Aura album, dude, you should buy that album. And trust me on this, you're gonna love it. Anyway, so that's the 18th at 8 o'clock. And then on the 22nd, Dennis OG Press, my buddy Dennis from Analog Archives, we're doing the entire 14 album catalog of Y&T from San Francisco yesterday and today. Man,
Young and Terrible.
Such an underrated fucking band. They are so good, man. Those first 4 or 5 albums of them are priceless rock and roll, heavy rock. And then seems to me there was one other thing, but I'll have to remember what it is. I don't remember what it is. Might be some on-site interviews coming up this weekend with some of the Gore Guts guys and Death to All guys. We'll see what happens there. I'm working on that stuff.
Okay, let's get to the last record.
All righty, last one here is Nude. We got a picture of that there, Louis?
Somewhere here. Let's see if
I
have enough to find it.
And I have to actually say, I kind of like the artwork for this one, finally.
Oh.
I think it's kind of cool. It has a weird vibiness to it. And I used to think that the thing on the island there was an Easter Island head, but it's actually not. It's an empty suit. And we'll get into why that is. So Nude's the 8th album by English progressive rock band Camel, released January 1981. It's a concept album based on the story of a Japanese soldier, Hiru Unada, marooned on an island during the Second World War, who does not realize the war is over. The title derives from his family name Unuda, which means nude, I guess. Unuda. The album mainly comprises instrumentals. Only a few tracks contain lyrics. The lyrics were mainly written by Susan Hoover, who is Andy Latimer's partner, except those for Please Come Home, which were written by Andy Latimer. It is the last Camel album to date to feature original drummer Andy Ward, and the last to feature more than one original member. On November 24th, 2023, a new edition of the album was remastered by Ben Wiseman with a new mix by Stephen Taylor for Universal Music. I think that's all I have on that. Yeah, came out January 23rd, 81.
There's a new keyboard player here. Kid Watkins is out.
That's right.
Duncan McKay is in on keyboards.
There you go. It was recorded in September 1980 at Abbey Road Studios, and they've got Camel, Tony Clark, and Hayden Bendel doing the. I don't know who these guys are, but
it's Camel and the 2 recording engineers producing.
It's the engineers, okay.
Yeah.
So mostly self-produced then. So Gamma out on Gamma and Decca, and we start here with this album. I guess before we get into it, any thoughts preliminary, like overall?
Overall,
yeah,
I absolutely love this record. As some records went down in ranking with re-listening, this one went further up, and I thought of this record as a return to form.
In a different sort of vibe. It is a return to form, but they didn't return to what I would say the Camel of the first 3 or 4 albums.
Yeah.
There's a lot more vestiges of it, but they're using a lot more digital technology, a lot more.
Well, it's a child of the early 80s.
Synths are of the era, but what's come back is that cool atmosphere, that
Yeah,
cool.
it's certainly way better than Breathless or I Can See Your Eyes from Here by
Agree.
a country mile.
Agree. How about you, Eric? Do you have that same vibe or?
Yeah, yeah. I really like this one. At
Mm.
first, I don't know. It's been a bit of a grower as well. I didn't love it at first, but it's another one where every time I hear it, it gets a little bit
It gets
better.
better. Yeah.
And I also think I wouldn't say there's anything overtly commercial on here. I
No,
think they
Yeah.
not
kind
at
of
all.
wanted to get back to their roots of writing conceptual stuff and kind of just whatever they wanted to do instead of trying to appeal to the masses.
Yeah.
I would say the only track that might be slightly commercial is Lies. The song Lies might have a vibe of commerciality, but it's cool as fuck. That's a cool track. So,
Yeah.
all right, so we'll dip into these songs and wrap up. So, City Life is a pretty mellow, really atmospheric synthy track that has some kind of cool, vivid. It has a vividness to it. It's got this. If you know what the concept about is that this guy gets put on an island. He's fighting in the World War II. He doesn't even know that the war's over. And when they go to pull him off the island, he wants to kill everybody because he sees them as a threat. And I believe this is a true story, right? I believe it's true.
There
Right?
were several Japanese soldiers. It's not a true story only of him. There were several Japanese soldiers in remote islands who had pretty much kind of the same story.
Yeah, they didn't have any access to radio or TV or anything like that to know that the war was over, and so they perceived everybody as a threat. And knowing that, coupled with the artwork, which just has this very Asian, subdued, mysterious sort of vibe, that this track starts out that way. But the funny part of it
I think the artwork beautifully reflects the album.
It does, and the sound of the album too. I think too. But what's kind of interesting about it is that it's got a bit of this. City Life is probably the most poppy track on it, but it sounds more like Eurasian poppiness. And the really funny thing is, I kept thinking, if this was Billy Joel singing this right now, it probably would have been a big hit. Like if Billy Joel wrote this song, it would be a big hit. I don't know. It just
City Life in a way reminds me a little bit. Remember the Yellow Magic Orchestra?
Yeah.
It reminds me a bit of that.
Yep. There's shades of that for sure. Okay, so then we move on to Nude, which is just this very 20-second spacey synth short interlude. And then we get to is it Drafted?
Drafted, yeah.
Yeah, a ballad with very Magnum-like sounds. You remember the band Magnum?
Yeah.
Bob Catley and Magnum. It has a very on a storyteller's night kind of vibe to it. Really, really great song. Docked is super cool, man. That's probably my favorite song on the album, man. It's dark. It's a wicked bastard. It's cinematic. Yeah. It's super atmospheric. A lot of heavily delayed, affected slide playing, like from a song within a song.
Delayed, or is it double tracked?
No, it's delayed. He's doing all kind of like it's all trailing when he does the.
Okay.
So you got that going on. You got all that weird, crazy, dark, hypnotic synth stuff going on. Piano stabs. That's by far my favorite track on the album.
That killer heavy bass groove that comes in too. I mean, throughout a lot of the track, and then when they kind of build it, it's got these kind of ascending like chords that build up and then it drops back into the groove.
Yeah,
I put down that it almost reminds me of something off of like, Up the Downstair era Porcupine Tree kind of.
Yeah, very much so. And I would say also too that it's probably the most reminiscent of Moon Madness. It has that vibe to it, in just a little more contemporary. Beached is super cool, atmospheric, spacey jams, layered keys and synths, a little bit higher a tempo. There's Andy is doing some interesting fills.
I like the solo there.
The solos are really cool. The little stabs, the fills in between are really cool. A lot of effects laden solos again on this one. A lot of delay, a lot of fucking reverb, a a lot of it's echo, shit like that. A lot of compression. Yeah, again, a lot of cool slide fills in here. The spider-like bass lines that are on that one, where he's like, the bass lines on that one are even more prominent than on Docked. And this one, interestingly, the solo on that is very pentatonic, very blues based. It's just, but it's Andy Latimer doing it, man. Then we get to landscapes, kind of aquatic sounding, aqueous sounding. The synths are kind of floaty. The flutes are very floaty and kind of like of the air. Let's see, what do we got here? Like they're being beamed down from another galaxy. They just sound like from another time, just kind of anachronistic. Changing Places is kind of has a world beat rhythm going on underneath it. And actually, what I was reminded of in this song was Vangelis, like Chariots of Fire, like down, 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 down.
Yeah.
It's got that like bubbling sort of thing going on. Pomp and Circumstances, another beautiful flute synth cinematic interlude that has a ton of atmosphere for a short song. Going back to Changing Places, that definitely has a very soundtracky 80s Asian sort of themed vibe to it. Please Come Home, one of the few vocal pieces. It's got early 80s Latimer prettiness, wistfulness, a bit sad, but I don't love that
I
one.
thought the vocals were a little bit strained on
They're
that.
a little weak. I agree. Yeah, they're almost out of his range in a weird way.
Yeah.
So that one's not one of my favorite songs, but it's not terrible. Reflections
It works in the context of the album, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And the lyrics are obviously a plea to this trap, this not shipwrecked. What's the abandoned? I guess would be the word, abandoned soldier. Reflections, mostly a dark and melancholic interlude. Captures has a very 80s sound, like a chase scene in a cop movie that maybe Vangelis or Jan Hammer did the soundtrack to. Really cool, fast, upbeat track. Super haunting 80s style synths. Another favorite of mine on the album is Captured for sure. The Homecoming, basically a whimsical march processional interlude. Kind of meh. They've done that already on Nimrodo. I believe they did it on with Lies. That's probably my second favorite track. I do
love the guitar on that.
Yeah, for the vocal tracks, this is the one that's super cool. Lots of Dire Straits in this, and lots of David Gilmour in this one too.
Yeah,
it reminds
me. Wall.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of.
Kinda.
Yeah, it's kind of got like Blue Skies. What's it called? Goodbye Blue Skies sort of vibes to it.
Yeah. So one of the slower tracks off the Wall kind of reminds me of.
Yeah, and it also, I kept saying it's pretty bluesy, but it's got a late night smoky lounge. Where you walk down into the lounge, everybody's smoking cigarettes, and it's the air is filled with cancer.
Everybody's on their fourth drink.
Everybody's on their fourth drink. Fuck, more like 42nd drink. What are you talking about, man? Everybody's hammered out of their gourd, and it just, you almost feel like you're in an old film noir movie with that song. The Last Farewell, The Birthday Cake, another instrumental atmospheric piece that's really cool. And you know what I love about that piece the most? I believe it's Mel, right? Is it Mel Collins?
Yeah, it's Mel. Yeah. Mel's on this, yeah.
And it's soprano sax, man, and I love the soprano sax, man. Give me some of that sexy soprano sax. I love that shit. And then TLF again, Last Farewell, Nudes Return, which is a great ending, man. It's a great instrumental ending. It's a very, maybe the most prototypical Camel ending, if you will. It sounds like something off of Moon Madness or Snow Goose or something. And it's those guitar melodies are stellar. It doesn't need vocals. So what do you guys want to talk about? And then we'll do our final wrap up.
No, I thought this was, like I said earlier, an absolute return to form. And as I was listening to all these albums, this is the one that definitely, my opinion, changed the most for the positive. And I would rate it as somewhere like a 9.25 or 9.5. I think. Wow. I think this is very close.
I agree
to the albums from the classic era.
I'm at a 9.5 on this. I'll tell you what really got me about this album was it's the album I wanted to listen to more over. Like the other ones, I've listened to all these albums 3 times.
Yeah.
I listened to Nude 5 times because I just was like, man. And this isn't. I'll tell you another thing about this album. This is a late night driving album, man. Put this on late at night, full moon, or even maybe like a stormy night when you're driving, and you're just like, man, it's so evocative of something, something otherness, like an otherness, right? How about you, Eric? What's your take on this one fully?
Yeah, I think it really succeeds. I mean, it's not quite on the level of the Snow Goose, but I think it does really succeed in kind of telling a story overall. And I mean, it's not entirely instrumental, but a good
Mostly.
portion of this is. I mean, there's what, 3 or 4
90% of
songs
it
that
is.
have lyrics?
I think there's 3. Yeah.
The whole middle section, and it's really cool. It goes through so many different styles, so many different emotions within that middle section. It really kind of takes you on a journey, and it is a really immersive album.
Yes,
Sure.
that's a great word for it.
Yeah.
One of the other things I found with this album that, and Eric, I know you kind of identify with this a little bit. I have a very highly amped nervous system, as most people know. Right, Louis? Just a little bit.
Oh no, you don't.
Little fucking weird nervous system. And of course, with all the problems with the benzos and all that shit, how the damage it did, I'm always on 11 most of the time. It takes a lot to dial me back.
It takes you down to 9.5.
No. Well, this one, no. What I was going to say was I found this album had a particularly calming effect on my nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
It made me feel like I was out on a surfboard or a raft or something in the middle of a giant ocean where I was surrounded by nothing, like on the cover there, where I couldn't see any land or any other human habitation, but that the water was just completely calm. And there was just a nice little breeze blowing, and it made me, I don't know, it made my sympathetic nervous system. When I listen to this album, it makes my sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic just kind of like, and I really found that listening to this album made me feel it made me feel good physically.
Okay.
Weird.
I'll give you my perspective. I actually did the crazy thing of listening to all of these 8 albums almost in a row today.
I did too.
So Nude, since I was going chronologically, Nude is the last album that I listened to. And when I went, what should I follow Nude with? I played some Steve Roach before I got together with
him. Man, holy shit. Well, and you know what though, that kind of makes sense though. It's that temporal sort of it has that vibe. Yeah, it's not an ambient record though.
No,
it's not.
No, it's not. But it has.
But it has a lot of ambient.
It has a certain ambient chill
qualities. Yes, it has a chill effect to it, and it has qualities of ambient. So, it's of all the albums, the latter 4, the middle 4, we'll call them. It's by far my favorite.
Oh yeah,
and I didn't know this, but, and I thought I put it up here. Let me double check. Hold on. And I had a note on this, and I don't know where I put it. I don't remember what this was for, but Steven Wilson called this album, Nude, one of the 10 best concept albums ever made. And it's one that a lot of people sleep on.
Oh, yeah. No,
I can believe that entirely.
I think this is a criminally underrated masterpiece. People tend to look at the classic albums from the 70s, forget about this, and this is almost right on the same level.
I think it's very much on the same level. Like I said, I give it a 9.5. Where are you at, Eric?
I'm at about an 8.5.
Okay, you're not
just
quite,
because I've only heard it 3 times so far. But again, I mean, it just keeps getting better
And
each
better.
time I
Yeah.
listen to it. And I think it's also one of those albums it's definitely a lot better if you kind of like I said, it's an immersive album. So if you like voluntarily immerse yourself in it, you don't
Yes.
try to do something else while
Yeah.
you're listening to it.
Yeah. I would say only late night driving in very little traffic out on a desert highway or out on a wooded highway somewhere where you can kind of cocoon yourself in the sound while you're in the darkness of your car.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? That's a great spot for it.
Yeah.
This is not a clean the house album because you can't
No,
really focus
it's
on
not
it.
a clean the house. Check your email while
Right.
you're listening to it.
Yep.
And I will add that the surround version on the box set sounds
Oh,
incredible.
I bet it's amazing. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not set up for sound. I should look into getting a bar. I should do that. Yeah, man. So there we go. We got 8 albums in.
I just want to say real quick, talking about the production on this album too. I
Oh,
mean,
it's great.
it it's really great, and I mean
Yeah.
it's got a little tiny bit of that 80s thing starting to creep in, like a little
Of
bit of
course.
extra reverb on the
Yep.
drums,
Yep.
but
Of
it's
course.
just enough to make them sound huge without going way
Way
overboard and
overboard. Yeah.
making them get all echoey and muddy and whatnot.
Like Judas Priest, Defenders of the Faith. My favorite
Right.
Priest album has the worst drum sound ever on that fucking thing, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
I love
hate
that
that thing.
album, but
I do
yeah,
too, but
it's not great.
I wish they'd re-recorded the drums, to be honest with you. Anyway, okay, so guys, we knocked out 8 albums in 3.5. We don't have to go through all the dance of where'd you come in and where'd you come out and blah blah blah. So next time, I think we should easily be able to do this in under 3 hours for the
Yeah.
remaining 7. We will connect, and once
Yeah.
I know what's
Cut,
going,
cut the audience out for a second so we can brainstorm.
well, we'll end it and stay on. So just give me a
Okay.
minute. So again, everybody that's watching, thank you that for the people that did hang out. We did have about 12 people on. Now it's down to 5. Again, next Tuesday, 8 o'clock, the church full discography with yours truly alone. On the 22nd, Saturday, I think it starts at 10 o'clock. Y&T catalog with Dennis, OG Press. We're doing it's a Forgotten Metal Gems episode, but we're doing it as a deep dive on Y&T because we've been talking about them forever. And then I think that's all I got in the till right on the moment. I do think I might try to sneak in somebody for a 3 of a imperfect pair. I might talk to one of you guys, see if you're interested in doing it. Or I might try to get one episode of the electronic thing back on task because I didn't do it last month.
Okay.
So there might be a couple things I try to shoehorn in. I have a lot of shows I'm going to over the next couple days. Going to see Death to All twice, Gorguts twice, Ancients. I'm going to see Alex Skolnick Trio. I'm going to see Defeated Sanity. I'm going to see Ancients. There's one other show in there that I can't remember who it was. So there's a bunch happening in that time frame. So all right. So thanks everybody who was here. You guys
Absolutely.
stay there.
Yeah.
Everybody, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. And Erik and Louis, stick around for a minute.
Absolutely. I got a double guitar extravaganza with John Five and Richie Kotzen coming up in a week.
Oh, when's that?
Like next Wednesday.
Yeah, they're playing in Philly, but I think they may have already played. I was thinking about going to that, but the place they're playing is like a 2.5 hour drive. It's like a slog.
The place they're playing is like a 10-minute drive.
Oh yeah, that makes total sense. That'll be fun, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I love Richie Kotzen. John Five's sick. I don't own any of his stuff, but Kotzen's fucking awesome, man. All righty, everybody. You got anything going on there, Erik, up in bumfuck nowheres?
Well, I did actually put up a video on my YouTube channel the
Oh
other day after only 7 months break. So
no, really? What'd you do?
oh, I basically I don't know. I want to get back into doing some more videos. So I just did 10 highlights of what I've been listening to over the last week, and I'm gonna try to do that every week, just as a kind of an easier thing to
Stay
get
on top
eased
of
back in, and then do a few other things here and there over it. So
it's kind of like a what's spinning episode, sort of, kind of.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, if you're ever looking for somebody to do something with, you haven't had us on, but you can't stream though, right? Yeah, that's why.
I've never done any live stuff, but
Yeah,
maybe
you'd have to buy the
someday.
program. Well, you'd have to get the freebie deal. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. Okay, everybody, thanks for being here tonight. Appreciate it. Louis and Erik, stick around.